Trust the guardians, trust the guides, trust the open and what's inside. When the moon is high, it's time to fly. Open your mind, let it all unwind. Let's get disengaged, time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. When you feel like you've had enough and the week was busy and tough, you need a break, you need some fun. You need to take time from the run. We'll blow your mind. We're just in time. Seek and ye shall find. Time to unwind. Let's get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. Aliens, ghosts, spirits in the shadows, spirituality, ultra reality, the Bible, the pagans, all the conspiracies, tarot, astrology, and alternate history. Open your heart to other possibilities and get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged, 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 disenraged.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Happy Tuesday, Jennifer. How are you?
Happy Tuesday. I'm good. I woke up this morning to my dogs having eaten part of my couch.
Oh, that's nice of them. That was good of
Yeah.
them.
I knew they knew I didn't have anything to do today but clean up foam and
Yeah.
and patch a big chunk of the cushion and
Do you ever see those videos of, like, I get these compilations on my Instagram all the time of, like, dogs that get caught and are in trouble for something, and the owner goes, "Who did it?" And
And
one
they're
of the dogs is like, and the other one is just like sitting, or sometimes one dog points at the other one and gives him away.
Yes, that was definitely the case. Well, this was Anya is kind of my picker. She's my white dog, and she was over there like, look what I found, and she had a big piece of foam in her mouth. I'm like, and Bodie knew it was wrong. He had his ears back, like, I'm really sorry, but I had to help her. I couldn't stop myself. I'm like,
Well, at least he knew he was bad, so you have to give him credit for that, I guess.
yeah. Also, weird thing is my power blinked out and I lost my internet for like 20 minutes about an hour ago. So I'm hoping that was it for the day. But if I disappear, I'll do my best to come back. I'll text you, let you know.
It was a test run. It was a test run, and now we're back because we have 2 hours of Akashic Records videos to watch, and it's going to be great. But before we get into the videos, I have a couple things I want to show you.
Oh boy.
And one of them I think is going to make you happy, and the other one I think will at least make you laugh, if not cry a little bit. But
Oh, God.
definitely laugh.
Just what I need.
Okay, so the first one, and you kind of already knew about this from movie night, but the Fuck You With Love merchandise is now in the Unwoke Art Store, and I put it on some unique things because on some things I haven't done before. Of course, we've got our t-shirt, but then I put it on a little wooden heart ornament that you could gift to your Auntie Valentine, or a card, or a mug, or a candle. And so got some cool stuff, I think. Jennifer, what do you think?
I love it so hard. I'm getting a t-shirt, and I want the heart one because I'm going to hang it from my rearview mirror in my car.
Okay, we can definitely
That
do
way,
that.
like, if someone pisses me off on the road, I have a reminder after I'm like, fuck you with love.
That's you know what? That's a really good idea. I wouldn't have thought of that. So I think that that's a great idea. And everything is 25% off in the store, and you guys can find it just by going to the homepage. It's right up at the top. You can see all the merch. And definitely get it this week because it's it's on sale. Why not? And I think it's like a good thing for Valentine's Day too. Like you can get this card in like all sorts of like so you can only get one, but then you can get up to 50. And I feel like this card is like something you just want to have around just in case you need to write a note to like your best friend or something. I feel like it's that. Did Jennifer freeze? Oh no! Did we already lose her? Jennifer, are you there? She's smiling at least. Is that me or her? Did my internet go out or did her internet go out? Oh no! Oh, the lights are off! Holy shit! I didn't even notice that the lights in Jennifer's freeze frame were off. Well, no! Jennifer's gone. No. Well, how you guys doing? How's it going? How's it going? Poor Jen. Oh, she said she just texted me. Power surge, be right back. The internet has to be reset. Okay, so she's on her way back. But do you guys like my merch? Do you guys want to look at my merch again? Look at this. Isn't this fun? Jennifer made me make this, but I think it turned out okay. I only did the shirt in black because it just looks best in black. It's got like a nice little frilly feminine design with a nice message. You can get candles, only black shirts. Just because it looks best that way. It just looks best that way. You just got to trust me sometimes. We've got a candle. We can get it in 3 different scents. I've never done these candles before, so that might be a nice thing to get for Valentine's Day. I'm just really killing time until Jennifer resets her computer. It's okay. The candle does look cool. I love this ornament, though. Look at this. It's actually made out of wood. So you can see it is actually made out of wood. And the back does not have anything printed on it, but the front does. You can hang it up on stuff. You can hang it up on a tree. You can hang it from your rearview mirror. I think that's a great idea for Jennifer. Let's see what else is going on. We were watching some cool Akashic Records videos tonight while Jennifer is getting reset. We've got 4 videos on the Akashic Records pulled up. Most of them are pretty short. The first one is from Gaia, and Gaia is like the woo-woo network, and they have some interesting stuff. What knowledge lies within the Akashic Records? That'll be good. Gaia usually does a good job. We've got the Akashic Records, unlimited, there we go, unlimited knowledge of the universe. Jennifer needs the link. Okay, hang on. I need to text Jennifer the link. Bear with us, guys. Oh, okay, I just texted her there. She should already have it in her Discord. Oh, you don't need to see that. Okay. You don't need to see that. Let's see. Does Jennifer need the link in her Discord? We're just waiting for Jennifer's internet to kick back up, guys. We will be well, there's nothing incriminating. Sadly, there is nothing incriminating. I just didn't intend for you guys to see the Discord, that's all. But trust me, there ain't nothing incriminating. I'm really not that interesting. Okay. So, oh, Jennifer is back. Jennifer, you're still alive. Thank God.
There was an explosion, dude.
Well, it was funny because you freeze framed, but you looked normal, and so you looked like you were just like smiling and listening attentively to what I was saying. But in but in the freeze frame, like half of your room went dark, so it caught it at the exact moment that like the room went dark. I was like, it's like in a horror movie where it's like the monster sneaking up from behind, and then the camera goes out. It was exactly.
Don't scare me right now. That's the last thing I need.
It was great. It was great.
Flashlight on here.
Well, I showed them all the cool merch, and I know you've already seen it, so maybe we don't need to go back and do that. But can I show you something that's kind of creepy, a little creepy?
Oh, is this the thing that's gonna make me cry?
Well, it might. We'll have to see. I have to share this with you though because I just really think you'll appreciate it. Okay, so it started last night with this picture of me that I posted on Twitter that I think is like not a bad picture. Honestly, my hair is much redder in that picture than it is right now, but
It's good.
it's not a bad picture. So I posted on Twitter. I had an inspirational message of some sort. I don't even remember what it was, and it doesn't really matter. The Groypers, because they are precocious, took my picture and made an AI video.
Oh my god.
I know. I know.
Oh dear.
I know.
What? Why?
I don't know. Well, let's just we're not going to ask questions about their motives, Jennifer.
That looks a little bit like a come hither.
They made me into an OnlyFans girl for a brief moment.
You're an influencer.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
But I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not actually that mad at this because like they could have done so much worse to me. Like, let's be honest, they really could have done worse to me than they did. So they did right by me, and I thought it was great, and I tweeted it out and all that stuff because I thought it was funny. Well, James Lindsay's psycho attack dog Frank found it. And he tweeted the video and he said, I just want to apologize to Carlin's husband that his 43-year-old wife posts weird shit like this for teenage Groypers while he's sleeping. And I was like, first of all, I look damn good for 43. I look good. I'm not upset, but you want to advertise that I look young for my age? Like, thank you.
Yeah.
But then he's like, Carlin made this salacious video for the Groypers. He doesn't realize it's AI.
Did you tell him?
Well, you know, I didn't have a chance to before James retweeted it out to 500,000 people.
Oh, James, we can always count on you.
All he said was Jesus, which I mean, obviously.
You made him a little hard, I think.
I did. He's getting a little hot and bothered over there. And then, but this is the best part, Jennifer. You're going to love this. So James also replied to Frank and he said, to be fair, gag. She's probably honeypotting them. I'm pretty convinced of the informant possibility now. James thinks I'm a Fed.
Because you're too hot to be a normal girl.
I know. Like, this is the confirmation that I'm a Fed. And by the way, I'm actually convinced that neither Frank nor James understands this is like an AI video because all the comments are, she's crazy. Oh my God, I can't believe she did that. And it's just like, you're supposed to be the intellectual powerhouses of the internet and you can't figure out this is AI?
Well, I couldn't. I don't think I would.
Really?
Honestly. No, because
my nails are two different colors. I have weird marks on my arms.
Yeah, okay, so the tats are wrong.
Yep.
And the nail color changes, but I mean people do shit like this with editing, but yeah, I think because I'm not 100% familiar with your tats, it would take me a few viewings to go, no, those aren't her arms, that's not her tats, you know, but what is going on here? Like I would just question
Doesn't that look crazy real though?
That is so creepy.
It's very creepy.
Especially when you're touching your eye right there. That's
I know, and that's another giveaway too. It's like I'm literally poking myself in the eye and not actually even, not feeling it at all. Just, you know, feeling myself apparently, but not feeling the poking in the eye. So did it make you laugh or cry, Jennifer?
I love it. It's making me laugh. I think you look gorgeous. I think AI suits you. And I think the Groypers are doing you a favor because it's so pretty. And it's for someone to like take the time to do that and make it look nice and kind of sensual, you know? You gotta love that.
It was very flattering. I enjoy the Groypers.
Yeah,
they are young and rambunctious and precocious and sometimes
very horny,
a little off the wall. And you know, well, they are Catholic virgins until they get married. No sex before marriage, Jennifer.
Whatever.
They're very serious.
I was religious once too. I know how it goes. I have something for you too. I came up with a sign that I think you will
A sign?
appreciate. Yeah, let me move my microphone out of the way here.
Okay.
Okay, so right, this
Yep.
fuck you with love.
love. Oh, I love that.
And if you do it on both sides, you've got a little heart with horns.
That's actually pretty great. We should make that into a T-shirt as well. I can't do it now though. I feel like I'm not.
You have to start with the heart and then
start with the heart and then
Yeah.
go up
yeah, and then
like a church.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember that little thing. That was funny. That took me back. Anyway,
Cool.
there you
All
go.
right. Well, we're watching the Akashic Records tonight, and what do you want to tell us about our selections? We have 4 videos.
Yeah, I found a bunch of shorties and then one long one. So we've got some, I think the first one is a nice, quick, comprehensive introduction. The second one is very scientific. It talks about the quantum realm and why the Akashic Records can be physically possible. The third one gets a bit further into the woo. And then the fourth one is a lady who is channeling, I believe, the record keepers of the Akashic Records.
I'm excited for that one. That one's going
Yeah.
to be very interesting, I think.
I looked up some videos on how to channel, or not channel, but how to meditate into the Akashic Records. And honestly, I think it's easy just to explain it once we get there, how to do it. But I did learn some really good pointers. But I also don't like when anybody says, here's the 3 ways you can do it. I know 4 ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's actually as many ways as you can imagine, because it's your doorway and it's personal to you. So once we kind of get into there and we start talking about like maybe how to get it, access it, maybe we'll do that before we get to the lady who challenges. We can kind of talk about that a little bit.
I think that's a good idea. I've tried to get into the Akashic Records before, and I've never been able to do it. I've never
really?
had success with it. So
I got in a couple times.
Carlin has aged like a fine 29-year-old wine with love. Thank you, Nick. That was very nice. And then, sorry, Jennifer, he sent one earlier. Jennifer, ground yourself from losing power. Well, a little late for that. But that's
It's
okay.
not
We made
me.
it.
There's a transistor down there that's blowing, and I've heard it twice now. Everything goes dark for a split second. I hear a boom, and then everything comes back on. And then I got to just make sure the internet resets so I can find the link and get back in here. So if it happens again, it's been a couple hours since the last time, so hopefully we won't have that problem again.
Cool. Yeah, I'm actually excited. I haven't tried to do the Akashic Records thing in a while, just because like I have issues with letting go. This is why I can't channel. I can't I don't know exactly what to do about that, to be honest about it.
You have to be able to get out of your way.
Yeah.
And let yourself ascend into it. Some of what helped me to do it, because I too have a problem. One would never guess I'm very grounded, but you can to create your safe space first and feel comfortable in that space, and then take that with you up.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll give it another try after tonight, but let's jump in and get started, and we're going to start with this video from Gaia. What knowledge lies within the Akashic Records? Dun, dun, dun.
The 8th dimension is the one that connects the whole thinking of the universe in different levels of consciousness. Not only mind as in the first dimension, but also emotional and physical. That's why we call the 8th dimension the Akashic Records, and also we call the 8th dimension the matrix in which we are all in.
A collection of all human events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent to have ever occurred in the past, present, or future. The concept of the Akashic Records finds its origins in ancient Sanskrit texts. But what knowledge lies within these treasured records, and how does one uncover their eternal truths?
Join now and get more than
Oh, no.
$500 in bonuses.
I didn't get
that will
any
change your
commercials when I
life.
watched it.
The moment
There we go. Microdose. That's a good name for a little show.
the Hindu word Akasha meaning upper sky, was introduced into Western culture by Theosophical Society co-founder Helena Blavatsky during the mid-1800s. Theosophists described the Akasha as the primordial substance that includes all vital forces. Though never specifically referring to the Akashic records directly, Blavatsky did make reference to indestructible tablets of the astral light, utilized for recording both the past and future of one's thoughts and actions. This repository of cosmic information, referred to as the Akashic Records, was widely disseminated by early theosophists, like author Alfred Percy Sinnett. In his 1883 book, Esoteric Buddhism, Sinnett suggests...
James is preparing a tweet right now to call me a theosophist, Jennifer. Thank you for that. Thank you. It's like that. James is going to be like, that bitch is watching a video about the Akashic Records. Can you believe it? She's a Gnostic.
Oh, should we send him some pearls to clutch?
I think we should. Actually, that's a really good idea. Yeah.
One could view their own Akashic records upon attaining higher stages of individual enlightenment.
The Akashic Records is an etheric language. It's actual place as well as a modern day modality of healing and intuitive work. It has the imprint, the energetic imprint of all of your past lifetimes. And you have a personal book of life that's stored in the etheric field of the planet, in the Akashic Records. And you can access this during your lifetime, and it will give you a deeper knowing of who you are and why you're here.
Many religions reference a posthumous life review upon entering the afterlife, where a book of life, or similar notion, is used to judge and weigh the merits of one's existence. Yet, is the idea of an Akashic library a literal, physical place, or a metaphorical myth used to explain a complex idea?
It's been referred to as the Hall of Records, the Library of Light, the Mind of God, God's Remembrance. There's many ways that they're referred to. And they hold what we would call our past, present, and potential future. And it's because we are here in linear time in the third dimension. And
What does that mean, Jennifer?
We're in linear time in the third dimension, which is what I've maintained.
I've always said we have to have time as an organizing device, but that doesn't mean time is real. That just means we use it as an organizing device right now in the dimension that we're in.
What is reality but what
the past, present, and future all exist together at the same time.
Out there.
The Akashic Records is a real place, Jennifer. They already said that.
It is a real place, and it exists out of time because it is an eighth dimensional place, and we are in the third dimension.
But it houses everything that has ever happened or will ever happen. That means time is not real.
I can't believe she just literally said linear time.
I've always said that we use time as an organizing device in the human experience. Yes, I agree with that. That doesn't mean time is real. It just helps us make sense of what we're in. I'm right, you're wrong.
Nope.
Time is not real.
I think we're almost arguing the same thing at this point.
No, we're not. You are wrong. I am right and you are and you are wrong. And you need to sit in your wrongness and be wrong. That time one came up quick too. I was like, I knew we were going to get time tonight.
Oh, it happens in every single video. I know I'm already fucked.
Yeah. We might get time 7 or 8 more times tonight. That's all right.
We've agreed to this time-space continuum that says, well, there is a past, there is a present, and there's the future, but where these records reside, we could say, is really in the eternal now, in the present moment.
In the present
so there
moment.
Is no past.
Jesus Christ.
There is
in the present moment.
Yeah.
The records reside in the present moment. The past, the present, and the future all happens in the present moment.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm right, you're wrong.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think that's exactly what they are, how it works. That's how readings go too.
There is only now.
Sorry.
When you do readings, you access all the ocean of time. I get it. Yeah. I just feel like it's real for this plane, just like I'm real touching myself right now.
Not real.
Even though I might
be an organizing device for this plane.
Fine. Okay, we can go with an organizing device. I will agree to that.
That's good enough for right now. We'll work on it. We've got a whole night. It's
Okay.
fine.
I see you.
When I explain about the eighth dimension and the Akashic records, I used to explain it like if it were a library or kind of a Wikipedia where you can go and look for any information you want. But for the eighth dimension, when you realize that every dimension is just a perspective of reality, you will realize that the eighth dimension is not the place where you have to go to look for that information, but you have to become in order to see and feel that information.
It would seem that accessing the Akashic records is a more metaphysical process than merely reading words on a physical page. So, how is human consciousness connected to the Akashic realm?
If we think that we are a leaf or a flower in a tree, and because we are a leaf or a flower, we are trapped in the tree, is because we didn't understand that the flower and the leaf are the product of the tree. They are not something separate. They are trying to feed the tree. With every experience, with every breath, you are feeding the network. The Akashic Records is like this library where every book that haven't been written yet and every book that was written shares the information all the time.
That's crazy.
Though the insight one might gain from viewing their own Akashic records is a tempting prospect, Matthias de Stefano warns against this practice before one is spiritually prepared.
So this is the difference between the people that is...
I'm personally terrified at the idea of viewing my own Akashic records, which is probably one of the reasons I can't get into the Akashic records.
What on earth have you got to be afraid of? You've already done
know.
everything in there.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a fair point, but it's just like, again, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. The human part is the fear part. It's probably an irrational fear. I can
ego,
acknowledge that, but I am actually afraid of it. I don't want to know.
Oh, interesting. Well, I guess, you know, if you don't want to know, don't try.
But I do want to know, but I don't want to know.
It's if you want to know anything badly enough, you will find a way to find out. And if it's not through accessing the Akashic records, because the thought of perhaps going to that place is a little frightful, then just do it through tarot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because that's also another way to access those kinds of things is through tarot, past life readings, all the stuff. It's all accessing that same space.
Fair enough.
Trying to get into the Akashic records to look for information, and the people that is willing to transform itself. So if you take the information from other universe instead of creating your own universe, so you will be eating the fruit of that tree of life, and your own reality will disappear and will be destroyed by the information that is not your vibration. That's why in the story, when Eve eats the apple, the whole story for them is destroyed because she was not building their own information. The only way you can download that information is not going there and look for it, but to be yourself, transform into the vibration of that information so you can download it. That's the good way of doing it. Don't go and look for the information, just put yourself in the level of that information so it could be downloaded to you.
Accessing the records is not as simple as walking into a local library. Those familiar with the Akashic realm suggest one must first attain a deeper understanding for the spiritual and metaphysical process. However, spiritually minded individuals suggest that with the knowledge of the Akashic records and their chronicling of our past, present, and future comes a great tool for enriching one's life.
There's literally no inaccuracy with the book because the book is not going to be telling a fictional story for you. The book is literally going to be your truest self. So if you connect into your records, if you connect into your book of life, it's like looking in the mirror. the mirror doesn't lie. And the interesting thing about this mirror is it's a mirror for the soul. And when you look into it, you're actually able to write, you're actually able to create, to heal, to clear yourself, to create a great life.
The story of our lives is both individual and a coalescence of all living things within our reality. Accessing the Akashic records and viewing our own past, present, and future may be the most profound guidance to understanding the true nature of our reality.
All right, video 1. That was, I think, a really good overview of the situation.
Yeah. I know the first question from a lot of people was like, what are they? And it's, well, let's find that out first. Nice, quick explanation. This is, I think, the really scientific-y one.
Okay, that's good, because in order to go into the spirit realm, we need to be ultra scientific and precise.
It all works together, honestly.
It all needs to stand up to scrutiny. God knows, Jennifer.
That, James.
Exactly. All right, let's go.
Late Edgar Casey, the Akashic records can be seen as the universe's supercomputer, a central storage facility of all information. Collectively, the Akashic records are a field of energy that holds the past, present, and future knowledge of all things, and it manifests everywhere at once. Within this all-encompassing field are individual energy fields for each being that are immensely vast in their own right. The Akashic records are just like the modern Wi-Fi network. We can't see the Wi-Fi internet, yet we know it's everywhere around us. It's something invisible, yet if you access it, you can reach limitless information. Pretty much anywhere on the planet that has internet access, you can find these hidden secret patterns and codes that are floating around us.
What?
It's the same thing with the Akashic records.
Oh.
You only need—
I was like, is this saying it's like the internet and it's like all coded
It's a
in the
frequency.
internet? I was like, that's a really odd analogy to use.
Metaphor.
I was very confused for a second. All right, Jennifer, this is Carlin's channel, and she is the fascist dictator for life. We just have to accept the fact that we are wrong. And See, Kevin Michael, this is, you know what? This is the correct attitude that I feel like everyone.
Oh my God. You ass licker, Kevin.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says "Carlin is my dictator." That's actually a really fucking funny shirt, though.
I want Carlin is my co-pilot, like Jesus is my co-pilot.
Oh God. But I like Carlin is my dictator better. Just watch.
All hail.
It's gonna happen. The shirt is gonna have like neon green, like fuck off neon green font.
Oh my God. We need to get a picture of you like with your chin in the air and dead in like the red and blue of like Stalin and Obama and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. I'm definitely gonna be working on that. Thank you, Jennifer. I colonized your soul. That's a good shirt for Halloween.
Oh God. What is wrong with some of you?
This is what we do when you're not around, Jennifer. We talk about how I'm a fascist cult leader. The Borisenko regime 2025. Yeah, everyone reports to me now. I'm here to fix everything. Don't worry.
Oh my God. Get a little graphic of an army of people with their arms out, like marching towards you.
Yep. Das Führer. Der Führer. All right, let's not give James any ideas. Okay, let's keep going.
Don't swell Carlin's head anymore.
No, you can keep swelling my head. I just don't want it to get back to James Lindsay. He's gonna have this whole fucking Carlin admits to being a Nazi cult leader and forces her audience to buy T-shirts with her face on them.
Oh, brother.
You know what we should do? Oh shit, this is a really good idea. Okay, James Lindsay. This is a good idea. We're going to freak the fuck out of James. James lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know where, and it doesn't really matter. Can we find people in the Knoxville, Tennessee area to go and just stickers of my face all over the fucking
just randomly
place? Just mostly like, especially around like the airport or like wherever that is. And so if James is out among town, he might see a sticker with my fucking face on it.
Dear
That would
leader
be-
underneath him.
That would be the funniest fucking thing that's ever happened.
Oh my god. That's fun. We're thinking of moving to Tennessee, and I forget who it was. Somebody said, James Lindsay lives there, and I'm like, oh no.
Don't move to that part of Tennessee.
No.
Move to like Nashville or Memphis.
We're going further east, the
Uh-huh.
eastern end of. Yeah, where where was it that he lived? Where did you say Nashville? Where did he live?
Knoxville.
Oh no, he lives in Knoxville. Oh no, that's what we were talking about. Was Knoxville?
Oh
no!
You're gonna live in the same town as
No,
Jennifer.
okay,
Jennifer,
it's
this is
not
perfect.
planned.
You can go and spy on him. You can make
I'll
sure
find out
that
what
you're
bars he hangs out
exactly,
in.
and go make sure there are stickers in my face as soon as he walks in those bars, and that should come on. That that would
I'll
be
come
funny.
up and pat one on his back, like, hey, smack. Like people put like laser on the back. Hey, nice. I'm a big fan. And he'll like be walking around with a Carlin face on his back. He won't even know it.
That would actually be. I just want to drive him crazy. I want him to feel like he's seeing me everywhere, even if I'm not there. I just think it'd be hilarious.
It's not a bad plan.
Nothing
wrong could happen.
No, I'm joking. This is not real. We're just joking. I disavow all of this. We're just joking. Okay.
Disavow.
No one fucking makes stickers of me and go to Knoxville, Tennessee. And like stickers. Don't do that shit. Don't do it. All right. Jennifer, well, you know what? You like her better than me and you always have. So whatever.
Aww.
Whatever, Dragon Water.
I
Whatever.
have like 2 fans. Let me have them, damn it.
You can have them. It's okay.
Tune your consciousness into the right frequency to be able to access this information. Before we continue, we'd like to thank our friends from Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
This is like an in-video
Skillshare
commercial.
is an online.
Yeah,
There
it's
we
a
go.
sponsorship.
The term
thing.
Akashic Records was first coined in 1883 by the author Alfred Percy Sinnett in his book Esoteric Buddhism. In it, he describes how,
John.
according to Eastern philosophy, universal records physically exist in the ever-pervasive realm known as the Akasha, which can be accessed by enlightened individuals. But what is interesting is that references to the Akashic records can be found thousands of years earlier in the ancient Hindu scriptures. The Mahabharata and the Puranas all mention tales about this mystical, famous Vedic sage known as Narada. Tradition has it that Narada transcended consciousness to gather his knowledge and give teachings of great wisdom. Narada had access to some kind of an essential knowledge that is in the fabric of the divine cosmic order. He has this mystical ability to tap into the universal knowledge directly from the Akasha. Akasha is actually a Sanskrit word which means ether in both the elemental and metaphysical sense. Another ancient being who supposedly accessed the Akashic records was the ancient Egyptian deity known as Thoth, or Hermes Trismegistus. Before he was revered as a god, Thoth was the first great Egyptian philosopher and founder of the ancient mystery schools, receiving his wisdom while in meditative trances, writing over 40 books, including the Emerald Tablet, the Book of Thoth, and the Divine Pymander. To the Egyptians, his knowledge was so vast and all-encompassing that they first began to credit him as the communicator with the gods, eventually inducting him into the Egyptian pantheon. But is there any proof of the existence of the Akashic records? Well, we are limited by modern-day understandings of what qualifies as proof. Anything that cannot be perceived by our physical senses, or something that is, for most, impossible to perceive, it's hard to validate its existence. The truth is, there really is no way to prove, in the material way that we currently define proof, the existence of the Akashic records, because it cannot be seen, touched, heard, or otherwise measured. Like Nikola Tesla said, the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. But even so, after years of studying the nature of electromagnetic and gravitational fields, Celebrated futurist and Nobel Prize nominee Dr. Ervin Laszlo announced that he has found evidence of the A, or Akashic field. Dr. Laszlo took work from the discovery of the quantum zero-point energy, which
Take a
Oh,
look
come
at this
on.
strange
No,
device that
no,
I'm
we're not
holding in
doing
my
this
hand.
again. No,
It's
I need to.
smaller than a quarter, but I
That is
They're
so
gonna
weird.
for-
Is like my
they're
ad
gonna-
blockers were working when I watched this, so I don't know what in the hell.
I never get ads except
Yeah.
when we're watching, like literally never. I watch stuff on here all day. Never get ads until we're live on the internet.
Might be my
Every time.
karma. I'm trying to track money right now, so it could be my karma. I'm sorry.
Huh? That probably so.
I
Sure,
need to go
apologize,
wash my
fine.
hands because I'm an AI and I'm changing the color of my nails right now. So I gotta wash the remover off my fingertips. I'll be right back.
All right.
is a radiation field that exists all around us that we can't perceive, but we can detect it indirectly. The existence of the quantum zero-point energy is very solid theoretically, and it was first discovered by Albert Einstein. So we know that the zero-point energy exists, and it carries a lot of information about the universe in it. Dr. Laszlo proposed that this didn't carry just a physical information about the physics of the universe, but also it contained intellectual information. According to theoretical physicists, zero-point energy is an all-pervasive sea of quantum energy waves that are invisible, but exist throughout the universe. The fabric of space itself is made of energy and information. And the way this information propagates through the universe is through waves. We call these quantum waves. And so, the Akashic field is made of quantum waves that are common to all intelligent life. This means that all human brains, extraterrestrial brains, and any sort of otherworldly beings also have the ability to tap into these quantum waves, receiving information. This idea of an intelligent informational field that we can access with our consciousness is not pseudoscience. It's not superstition. It is a basic fact that our scientists confirm is actually true. Nearly 2 decades prior to Laszlo's discovery, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman published his groundbreaking work in quantum physics, The Strange Theory of Light and Matter. In it, he explored the idea that electrons in our brains can be activated and informed by quantum waves, affecting our thoughts and subconscious. Richard Feynman talked about the quantum entanglement theory and the idea that you could have subatomic particles at any distance whatsoever and they could affect each other, where information can be sent instantaneously. The human brain is full of electrical activity that creates radiation that a very sensitive radio receiver could pick up, and other minds, other places would also be able to send such waves. Feynman found from the idea of a quantum field of information that even an electron moving in our brains could be receiving radio signals from the past, but to compensate, it must also receive waves from the future.
That's trippy.
This means that every electron in our brain is actually a receiver. After all, Nikola Tesla was right when he said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists." We now know that information could traverse to any part of the universe instantaneously. This could mean that intelligent civilizations could send complex information to us by quantum wave propagation or other means. They could very much be nudging society along through people having apparent visions, which could be nothing more complex than a radio broadcast, some sort of thought transference through the Akashic record. Stories about people who accessed the Akashic records can be found not only in our ancient past, but even in our recent history. In 1923, the 12-year-old Bulgarian peasant girl called Vangelia was playing in a field when a tornado carried her off into the air. Later she was found by her parents, barely alive. She was very frightened, and strangely, her eyes were covered with sand and dust, and she was unable to open them because of the pain. After 3 unsuccessful operations, she remained completely blind. After the accident, slowly, von Gedia developed a striking ability to predict the future and began making accurate revelations for the local population. By the 1980s, the blind prophet, who adopted the name Baba Vanga, which means Grandmother Vanga in Bulgarian, had given thousands of accurate predictions and gained a reputation as the Nostradamus of the Balkans.
No shit.
They'll cover her in
said
another
that
one.
She could
another
see
video
everything
too.
in her mind's eye, and when she would look at a person, she said that she could see their whole life in its totality, from birth through their life until death, as if she was watching a movie. She was the study of many Bulgarian and Soviet scientists who scientifically started testing her and interviewing her and the people that she read. Some of the most prominent politicians and leaders of
Go ahead.
For everybody who wants to know how to access the Akashic records, just get caught in a tornado and lose your vision. Boom, you got it.
That is kind of crazy though, and it's one of those things where it's like it's such a crazy story. Like it's stuff like this that kind of makes me believe that like a lot of stuff we experience is just fated and we can't. There's no escaping it. Like you just better let go because it's like she got caught up in a tornado and it made her like a world famous psychic. I mean, come on.
I think you're right. I think there are some things that are absolutely fated and the rest is like free will, but there are a few beats in our lives that it's like, you're doing this now. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're going over there now. You don't have a choice. And if you resist it, and like this is what's happened in my life, if you resist it, it's going to be harder and it's going to make it worse. And so you got to pay attention to like when life is nudging you in that direction. It's like, no, it really is time to quit your job. No, it's time to quit. You don't need to do this anymore. You need to go. No, okay, you don't want to quit. We're going to get you fired. Like,
oh, you want to tangle with us, little girl? All right, here we go.
Yeah, we're going to make this harder. And we're going to make sure they give you a great severance package. So they set you up, but like you're moving on now.
Yep.
of the Eastern Bloc traveled to her village just to receive her readings. Her predictions were extremely accurate, which tells us that the ability to retrieve information beyond this earth plane has nothing to do with our 5 senses. In fact, when she became blind, it is as if her other senses developed to receive messages and information about the past, present, and future. She predicted the day of Stalin's death, for which she spends a short time in prison, being questioned by the Soviets.
Oh, wow.
She predicted the tragedy of 9/11, the nuclear explosion in Chernobyl, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk, and many other world-changing events. We must remember, these amazing things are coming from someone who was born a peasant, who has not read books, had a slight, maybe functional literacy, and had no access to televisions or any modern source of information. You have to wonder, where was she getting this information from? Is it possible she was able to access some kind of knowledge that's out there that normal people cannot access? Throughout the centuries, there have been oracles and prophets that have claimed contact with otherworldly realms as a source of their inspiration. One of the people who clearly could access the Akashic records was Michel de Nostradam, better known as Nostradamus. He predicted many things, including the Great Fire of London in 1666, the French Revolution, and even the rise of power of Adolf Hitler. He claimed that he succeeded by using methods found in ancient Greek oracles, Christian mysticism, and even in the Kabbalah. Nostradamus was one of the first people recorded to access the Akashic records. He tries, in his labored narratives, to explain a divine state, where everything is happening not in a linear sense, but all happening at once. Past, present, and future concepts bind into one thing. Most prophets say that they are tapping into another reality beyond this earthly existence. So, potentially, they could be tapping into a layer of reality that is shared by otherworldly beings, like extraterrestrials, for example. Perhaps the Akashic records are all
Wait,
around
did I miss
us.
it?
It's
Did I
simply
miss it? Did I miss
Shut
it?
up,
Did I
Jack!
miss
Shut
it?
up!
Did I
Shut
miss
up!
it?
Shut up!
Time is not real. Time is not real. Time is not real. Time is not real. Time is not real.
She didn't actually say that though. That's not the quote. God damn it, bot! I can't have one nice thing, one moment of peace. No.
2. That's 2 for me. That's
Suck. All of
2
you-
for me. 0 for you.
Just for that, I'm playing Meet the Feebles on Sunday instead of Dirty Dancing.
We're gonna make a scoreboard right here.
Oh!
I have a little chalkboard down over here. I can clean that off and.
Oh my god.
Time is not real.
that our brains are not evolved yet to see them. Just like Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein also claimed he received the ideas of his greatest inventions from some outside source. Einstein claims he came up with the theory of relativity in an instance of a second. He said the idea came into his mind out of nowhere. Another thing which leads me to believe that the Akashic records are influencing the collective consciousness of humanity is the fact that some of the greatest inventions are received simultaneously by different people around the globe, which weren't connected in any way. 2 Columbia University sociologists, William Ogburn and Dorothy Thomas, publish a paper in the Academy of Political Science journal entitled, "Are Inventions Inevitable?" In it, they cite 148 instances of simultaneous inventions where 2 or more individuals, each operating without knowledge of the other's work, came up with the same groundbreaking innovation
That's
or theory
crazy.
at the same time. How is it that people in different continents, different cultures, can come up with the same idea at almost exactly the same time? Einstein's discovery of relativity was
Did you hear about this? I'm glad you brought this up because I kind of well, actually, hang on, that's not what I wanted to show. Where was it? Yes, no, this is it. This is it. So did you hear about this? So like they found a letter from Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun was like one of the original engineers in NASA. Basically, he was a Nazi that we stole after World War II and all this stuff. So
yeah, Project Paperclip.
in a letter that Werner von Braun wrote, apparently he said the futuristic leader that was going to take us to Mars is named Elon.
Is that right?
I swear to God, they found the
haven't
actual
heard that.
they found the actual physical letter because apparently this story had like spread, I guess, somewhere, and then someone was like, "No, that's not real," and they went and actually hunted down the actual physical letter, and they found it, and it is real.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so cool.
Yeah. And
Absolutely love
even
that.
Elon Musk tweeted it. He's like, "What's this?"
I think Elon, wasn't he named for a science fiction character that like a book that was like his dad's favorite book, and Elon was the prince of some royalty on Mars or something, and so that's how he got his name.
Maybe
And
that
now
would be it then.
Yeah, so it's like really interesting that he's, into Mars. It kind of feels like it's what's the word I'm trying to say? Like almost like a cyclical energy. Like the fiction wrote it, therefore it became true in some way, and then someone picked up on that. But yeah, that's all collective, unconscious, subconscious stuff.
He picked up the energy by being with the name.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Or because I don't think Werner von Braun was known at all for any psychic predictions. So the fact that he made one is very interesting to me.
Well, I mean, I kind of think with like engineers, though, I mean, they almost have to be able to tap into some sort of inspiration. They might not know what they're doing, but it's like they come up with, I mean, especially you're talking about like someone that's come up with like these really intricate things, like obviously working at a very advanced level. Like I kind of have to believe there's some inspiration behind that.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be able to even come up with a concept that has never existed before, as far as we know it, be able to tap into it, imagine it, and design it in reality. Yeah, for sure. Got to be some kind of psychic connection going on.
Yep.
Seated almost simultaneously by a theoretical physicist, a Frenchman named Poincaré. Perhaps as time passes and our collective consciousness evolves into a new level of perception, vital knowledge is being released into the collective field of information, and millions of people are able to receive it and express it. There are many other individuals who did extraordinary exploring of the Akashic records, including Su Jujin, a man from China, who discovered and describes anyone's life history only by knowing the person's first name. According to spiritual beliefs, the Akashic Record is also known as the Book of Life for an individual, and it contains every thought, word, intent, emotion, and deed of that soul, from the time it leaves its point of origin until the end of time. This field also holds the deepest meanings and connections between each piece of information, plus the soul's purpose, callings, talents, and lessons. Information in each soul's record becomes available through a certain unique frequency.
I knew that I wasn't in good health. Then one day I went to get my
Seriously?
blood work done, and the results were not good. I was
Lame.
Like a fingerprint encoded into the energies of the universe. The Akashic Records are the energetic recordings of your soul's journey since your beginning. It is everything about you, all around you and within you. It is everything you are, have been, and the potentials you are yet to become. It is a special field of energy that permeates your entire being. It is not something separate from you, but an integral part of you. I believe the Akashic Records are living, changing documents. As you change, heal, and grow, your personal Akashic Records are updated to reflect those changes. As you can imagine, your Akashic Records hold an infinite amount of information. There is no end to the information you can explore about yourself and your relationships with others when working in the Akashic Records. The information is always presented to you in a loving and compassionate way from your divine spiritual family. There are specific beings, energetic aspects, that specialize in the energy field of the Akashic Records and are called the Record Keepers. Record Keepers are also a part of your divine spiritual family. These divine beings have always been at your side, eagerly waiting to assist you. Out of respect for your free will, they do wait until you initiate contact and ask for help. The information that is obtained from your Akashic Records is a direct result of your questions. Your questions guide the Record Keepers and Ascended Masters to the right energetic space to retrieve the answers that you are ready to know. Sometimes we think we are ready to know something, but in reality, we are not. In those times, the answers seem to elude us, only to become crystal clear in the oddest and most unlikely moments.
Can we take a beat on that?
Imagine an infinite apple orchard.
I think that's a really interesting thing to know, and it's kind of comforting because I know a lot of people who get really frustrated with, like, people say they've done tarot readings or they've done this or that and they've meditated and the answers just aren't coming and they're really frustrated and they're confused and they're stuck, and it's because they aren't ready. And they go, I'm ready. And so,
Are you really though? Are you
yeah,
really?
if you were, the answer would come flooding to you. So would the solution. So then the next question to ask is, why am I blocking myself? Why am I not ready? What am I afraid of? And you start meditating on that until you make the breakthrough, and then the answers will just come right in.
Full of apple trees, which are chock full of apples. Each apple holds the key to different experiences your soul has had, and each tree represents themes that you have experienced throughout your soul's journey. When you want to know a certain piece of information, you have to come up with a way to direct the Record Keepers to the right tree and then to the right apple. By choosing the right apple, you will get the information you are seeking, which will facilitate your healing and growth. The Record Keepers are the energetic aspects that tend to these immense apple orchards, and when you ask a question, it helps to guide them to the correct tree. The more specific your question, the closer you get to the specific apple that holds the piece of information you are seeking. The potential for healing occurs when you are able to really get down to the core of an issue, the seed of knowledge and wisdom that is hidden within the specific apple. Often the awareness of the core cause of an issue is enough to create the energetic shift that results in a healing, a shift in energetic frequency to the next higher level of divine love and light. which may manifest in the spiritual, physical, mental, or emotional realms. There is an unlimited potential for healing when working with the energy of the Akashic records. The extent of the healing itself is directly related to your level of commitment and intent to heal yourself. Once you set your intent within yourself that you are ready to do your inner work, the record keepers readily come forward to assist you as best they can. Like all other divine aspects of energy, the record keepers radiate upon you the energy of divine love and provide guidance when you ask or when you make it known in some way that you want help. Your divine spiritual family would never interfere with your free will. Therefore, you must initiate the connection and ask for what you want or need. They are eagerly awaiting your initiation and are ready to respond. Having a strong, clear connection with your inner wisdom is more than a gift. It is a divinely given right. You do not have to earn this special talent. It is not something that is only for the chosen few. It is for everyone who takes the time to make it known that they want it. As a
I think that's really important for people to understand, because it's like, this isn't some thing that only some people get and other people don't get. Everyone has access to this, but you have to want it. And a lot of people don't want to know. They don't want to interact with this type of information. It opens up a whole set of consequences that a lot of people just don't want to deal with because it's complicated.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't want to access it, you will not access it. But if you do want to access it, you can.
Yeah. Well, anybody can ride a roller coaster, but are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it going to be okay? Like, are you ready for that whole ride? Because it's there. Once you start accessing that knowledge, you're going to find out shit. And taking that first step is really scary. But once you get into it, it's a lot more comfortable. It becomes more comfortable. It's like anything else. The first time is a little scary, but then it's like, great. Now I can really move forward. So it opens doors. It's great.
True. What are the consequences? I mean, I guess I think about it like karma is like a real thing. You're always going to experience karma for like whatever you put into the world, right? But it's like, I think the knowledge of how this stuff works is like a consequence in some ways. That's maybe not the right word for it. The knowledge of how this stuff works for me, I feel sometimes is like an additional burden. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
It's like, if you understand how the system works, then you understand what you can do, the consequences of what you can do, you know. It's scary though. It's scary to think that like I can create whatever I want. That is. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
it's also crazy.
There are bumpers for that. You know, you're not just going to unrestricted suddenly start creating things. But imagine where you were before you started learning what you know about communism and all the work you're doing now. And we were kind of joking about this on Monday's movie night last night with Mac. It's like, now I can't unsee all the symbology and the little hints that are everywhere. It's what the consequences of knowledge is, seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Now you can't unsee it. You can't unknow it.
And it's also that, I mean, you understand how powerful that you really are, and that can sometimes be very intimidating because you're not always ready for that type of power. I mean, it's a lot easier to just say, like, you know, everyone and everything else is responsible for all the bad things I have in life, and it's everyone else's fault, and it's not my fault, and, you know, I didn't do anything. And it's a lot easier to do that than to be like, you know what, I fucking created this fucking problem for myself, and now that I'm the only one that can unfuck this problem because you have to admit that you created the problem in the first place.
Yeah, there's a lot of personal responsibility that comes with this kind of stuff, because you have to be, and like with manifesting things, you have to be very responsible about it, be cautious about it. You don't just go creating shit because you can and messing with things. That's in the black magic line of thought. And that's one thing I think, when people, if that's why they're accessing the Akashic records, is to do it for power, they're going to get stomped down, unless that's their path. That's their purpose, is to cause problems so other people can learn and grow and fix the problem. So
and we need people that are doing that, because that teaches other people the lessons that they need to learn as well. So it's not like we can have a world where, you know, those people don't exist. No, that serves a purpose as well.
Yeah, exactly. Everything has its time and purpose and reason.
Creator of your reality, It is up to you to initiate change in your life. First,
Exactly.
you must ask for help. Then you must be willing to put to use the information you receive. It is always your choice. But if you don't put into practice what you are learning, then nothing in your life is going to change. You know the old saying, the definition of insanity is to keep doing what you have always done and expect to get different results. Our divine family of light sends us messages and guidance all of the time. It is up to us to either
Please
Oh, come on.
sign
Oh,
the
no.
petition
and
Seriously.
urge
no.
Congress
Ah,
to make
ah.
assault rifle.
Oh, not that
acknowledge
one.
those
Jeez.
messages or ignore them. They plant the seeds of light and knowledge
Everybody
and
needs to
wait
start
for us to
manifesting
nurture
no
those
commercials.
seeds.
No
They wait
commercials.
patiently
No
as we
commercials.
allow those seeds to mature into wisdom. They also watch with infinite compassion and acceptance if and when we choose to squash those seeds instead of nurturing them. They radiate us with the same loving energy, even if we choose to make the same old choices and create the same old patterns, essentially ignoring any guidance they were trying to provide. That is what free will is all about. The main purpose for working in your Akashic records is not to receive mandates about what to do with your life or how to live your life, but to provide you with the information, knowledge, and wisdom you need to broaden your perspective, allowing you to make healthier choices. In other words, working with the energy of the Akashic records provides you with the support you need to grow and evolve personally and spiritually. When you have clear intent that you are ready to heal all aspects of your life, then your true work begins. Spirit responds to your requests to heal and provides you with the opportunities for growth. Each time something comes up for you in your life that pushes your buttons, it is Spirit's way of providing you with an opportunity for growth. It has always been this way. The difference is that now you will have the ability to go into your records, dig around, explore, and uncover the core of the issue at hand. Once you have uncovered the core issue, you are able to begin the healing process. The record keepers are waiting with anticipation for you to begin this personal and spiritual journey. Through your connection with your Akashic records and your divine spiritual family, you will experience deeper and deeper levels of self-empowerment and self-direction as you discover the euphoria of going within to connect directly with your divine source. With each visit to your Akashic records, you have the potential to heal another piece of yourself. With each healing of your energy, you will feel more and more complete and whole. Past, present, and future all connected to make us who we are and give us what we have. The consequences of our actions will determine the responses of our futures. We have to accept the actions we have done and the consequences to those actions in order for us to move forward or change the path we are on.
All right, is that the end of that video?
Thank you for watching.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So I had a couple questions. Okay, so Brian says this sounds cultish. It's not a cult, bro. There's no leader of the cult. You can, like, stay or go anytime you want. You don't have to believe it. No one's forcing you to be here. It's not cultish. Do you have anything to say to that, Jennifer?
I don't know if he's serious or not. He kind of sounds like he's being like having a little the Carlin cult.
Well, I think so, but still, it's like, but I do think it's important to correct, because I'm sure like he's probably like a Christian or something, and so to him this might sound very cultish, and I don't know. I just like to take the opportunity to educate people.
A cult would tell you what to think and how to think about it, how to view it. They would interpret the message for you. This is like, here's what's out there. You do with that what you will. That's not a cult.
You don't have to do it. You can do
You
it.
don't have to do anything. You can sit
do
here and
anything.
go, this is a bunch of bullshit, but I mean, I like the ladies on the screen, all right, you know.
Yep. Bot says, if I get epiphanies when I'm high, is that them sending me a message?
Fucking bot, I swear.
It's a valid question. I'm much more psychic when I'm high.
I will say this to that point. Yes. There was one dude that I was gonna pick his video, and then I stopped because he was like, "You can't drink alcohol. You must be on a pure, clean body, something purity diet, and all this." I know, and I'm like, buddy, I've had the best like communication with spirit when I'm like drinking or stoned or on mushies.
Mhm.
There's I always refer back to the oracles of Delphi, oracles of Delphi, that they sat and inhaled like totally noxious fumes from the earth that got them high AF to get their visions, because it does remove the ego, it removes that filter that sometimes stops us from reading. Epiphanies are epiphanies. I don't care when they show up. Write them down. Get high, drunk, stoned, friggin' tripping, sober. What works for you works for you. If some people can only do it by causing their body to lack joy by starving themselves and fasting and praying, and then they get a vision, well, that's their technique, and there's nothing wrong with how any of us access source or spirit.
Yep. It's true. I mean, because it reduces your resistance to things. You might not be as inclined to close things off. This is why I only meditate before I go to sleep at night, because I'm tired and I don't resist things, and it allows me to get into the trance a lot easier.
You relax.
If I try to meditate when I wake up, first of all, I'm gonna fall back asleep, so that's just not a good idea to begin with. But I'm just it's not the right time to do it. But drugs can help with that too.
Yeah, well, it sheds that ego, because I'm very, very grounded. It's hard for me to release, but having a little something that allows my energy to just go tink and I can float away, I'll use that all day long. Hell, I take a medication to get rid of my headache. I may as well take a little something to help me, access source.
I will say the one thing that I do agree with that philosophy on, in terms of you had to eat clean and not drink and all that stuff, is if you're going to do an ayahuasca ceremony, I 100% there's a whole 2-week process you got to do before. And it's not that you can't do ayahuasca and have an experience if you don't do that. I've definitely been around people who did that, but I just know, because I've seen it happen a couple times, is that if you don't take care of yourself leading up to that ceremony, you're gonna have a real bad night. You're gonna have a really effing bad night. You're gonna be complaining. It's not gonna be good.
That's also, I think, also with ayahuasca and stuff like that, it's a chemical reaction that's happening throughout your whole being, because there's a physical stuff that happens too when you're doing that. So if you don't have yourself cleaned out, it's gonna make you really sick. So
Yeah.
you want, in that case, that's a whole different process. And for some people, it's a ritual to get them in the headspace so that they can have that experience. It shows their dedication and that they really mean that, yes, I'm ready to hear and listen, and I am humble, and I'm not going to sit there and go, yeah, I don't have to do shit, man. Just hand me the cup. Let's go. Then that's not the right person for this.
It's setting a specific intention of it. It's taking it seriously. It's not disrespecting what it is. Because it is supposed to be some things are actually supposed to be ceremonial and not just hallucinogenic, like LSD or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And that's, again, however we get there. But if they're take care of the process, if there needs to be a process, because certain things do, sure.
All right, let's get into our next video. Let's see. This one's about 12 minutes long. Reading the Akashic. Ooh, now we're getting into the good stuff. How to actually do this.
Yeah, this is a really cool video. I like this
Spiritual seekers have believed in the existence of a cosmic repository containing all knowledge of human experience, a universal library preserving the history of every soul since the dawn of creation. Known as the Akashic Records, this ethereal archive of unlimited information serves as a ledger of each soul's journey through existence. But how do we access such a boundless plane that defies the limits of time and space? Let us explore the fascinating origins of the Akashic Records, how to attune our consciousness to read these sacred texts or etheric messages, and what clues they may reveal about our eternal nature.
Time isn't real. Time isn't real. Time isn't real.
That's not what it said. Stop it, Reagan.
Stop it.
The concept of a cosmic record bearing the experiences of every human life has been embraced by mystics for thousands of years. References to these etheric records trace back to ancient Vedic scriptures and yogic traditions of India over 5,000 years ago. The Sanskrit word Akasha refers to the basis and essence of all things in the material world and our universe. It is the substratum that underlies all existence. The Sushruta Samhita, an ancient Indian medical text, describes healing information appearing in the Akashic medium where the cosmos stores all knowledge. The Yoga Vasista, attributed to the sage Valmiki, contains some of the earliest written accounts of beings who were able to consciously access the Akasha.
You'll see the changes that have taken place in America, the ideas that are responsible for those changes.
You know what this is? You know what this is? I bet you this is spiritual channels monetizing to a greater extent than like other channels I watch.
Maybe?
Like socialist channels don't monetize, but the spiritual channels do.
That could be. I don't know. Like I said, when I watched these earlier, because I previewed all of them except for the last one, and I didn't get any ads, so I don't know what.
Crazy.
The mystics of ancient India knew the Akashic field was a limitless repository containing all events, words, and thoughts that have ever occurred at any point in time. By tapping into this matrix, yogis claimed we can access any information and transcend ordinary limits of time and space. How can we view these records that supposedly contain the experiential knowledge of our eternal souls? According to mystical teachings, the Akashic records do not exist in a physical space, but rather in a dimension of pure energy and cosmic intelligence. The records are described as resembling a library or universal computer database that catalogs every thought, word, and action of every incarnated soul. They encode all experiences and events recorded over the cycles of time. To access such a boundless cosmic archive requires attaining an expanded state of higher consciousness beyond the constraints of your mortal body and ego personality.
That's very
Seeking stillness through prayer or meditation allows our rigid consciousness to dissolve and tap into these subtle planes that exist beyond the senses. Quieting mental chatter opens access to deeper wisdom from our higher self and intuition. This enables a profound connection to the Akashic records. Many describe a telepathic experience of seeing words, listening to guidance, or simply knowing insights that seem to come from a divine source. Some depict mystical libraries or halls of wisdom. The Akashic records allegedly reveal their secrets only to those with a focused spiritual intention to understand their divine purpose and destiny. Learning to achieve a state of serenity, presence, and detachment from worldly distractions is key to viewing the Akash records and attaining self-realization. If you're now wondering how to access this divine database, give us a like and subscribe. It helps us grow, and in turn we help you understand these concepts more deeply.
We will help you grow if you help us
now,
grow.
On to the next section.
Yeah.
Those able to delve into the Akashic records consistently report profound experiences of tapping into virtually limitless repositories of knowledge spanning all timelines. They describe vividly recalling past life experiences on Earth, witnessing the genesis of souls and even the universe itself, and accessing insights into their predestined soul missions. Through hypnotic regression and deep meditation, many have recalled detailed alternate histories of previous lives on Earth. These past life recollections often entail foreign languages, obscure facts, and verifiable evidence from distant eras that seem impossible for the subject to otherwise know or fabricate on their own. Powerful out-of-body experiences in deep trance states also allow access to the records where life between incarnations and karmic relationships across multiple lifetimes are revealed. Could spontaneous memories of past lives provide convincing evidence that our eternal souls return repeatedly across many bodies and human identities over time? Do we choose the circumstances of our birth and reincarnation to learn, transform, and evolve our consciousness?
Yes.
If we live forever through time, then who and what are we beyond this single fleeting lifetime? Delving into the Akashic records may offer each soul tantalizing clues into its own boundless existence. Mystics propose that the Akashic records contain more than just linear details of events that happened long ago. They suggest the records also hold the timeless holographic blueprint and source code for everything manifest in the material world. Like a cosmic hard drive, the Akashic hologram programs
eternal.
the fractal patterns of creation.
Oh my God, let it go.
Time.
Good God.
Less.
As in not having time. Fine. Something
for
that's
me.
eternal or immortal. It didn't say time doesn't exist. Stop it. Time exists in this plane as a concept that we have to work into. It's fine.
Jennifer, we're in Aquarius. You can be weird now, okay? You don't have to be so fucking Capricorn anymore. We are out of Capricorn. We are into
Wait a minute. First of all, my beliefs are going to be my beliefs no matter what fucking zodiac sign the moon is in, okay? Or the sun or whatever's out there spinning around right now.
Capricorn.
Yeah. I am that I am, man. What do you want? Freaking Aquarius? God. No, Aries.
I'm just saying, embrace the Aquarius. It's a weird time of the year, Jennifer. You're allowed to be weird. It's the weirdest sign.
Yes, but see, I'm a creature of conviction and principle, and if I just let it go for the fuck of it, then that contradicts my purpose.
Yep. I am the fascist dictator of my YouTube channel, and I will do whatever I want. Thank you. Thank you.
That direct the unfolding of reality itself as we perceive it. The universe appears physical because our limited biological senses cannot perceive the subtle, energetic frequencies that underlie matter, space, and time. However, information systems like the Akashic records operate beyond physical limitations. Our brains process holograms projected by higher dimensional intelligence that create our experience of reality. By accessing the Akashic hologram, mystics claim we can transcend all illusions of matter and understand the cosmic design behind creation. Reading the Akashic records allows exploration of the occult meaning and patterns behind seemingly mundane events, synchronicities, and symbols in our lives. They reveal the hidden hand of divine orchestration that lies behind the veil of the mundane world. They illuminate the purpose and spiritual lessons embedded in each experience. Each soul must uncover its divine curriculum and uphold cosmic harmony as we travel the eternity of existence together. Do you believe these things to be true? Leave your honest thoughts in the comment section below.
Soul contract.
Beyond revealing our past lives, some believe the Akashic records also preview the soul's pre-chosen destiny.
Do you know when you meet someone that you have like a thing with? Do like alarm bells go off or something?
I've had that experience, but it's not common. You know, it's not something that you walk around and go, oh, that's the person, or you meet someone and go, oh, I know you, I have this contract with you. Sometimes it takes you a minute or a while, maybe even years to figure out, but you might just have this sensation of, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah.
That familiarity.
That's what I get. It's kind of like, it's like there's something different. I can always identify. I don't really know what it is, or if it's quite frankly good or bad. And sometimes it's not always good. But like I can always tell. Like there's a reason that I'm meeting you, and I don't know what it is, but I know that there's something different about you than other people.
Yeah, it's the sensation you get when you get that puzzle piece to fit in place, and you're like, oh, It's kind of an excitement. It's and then if you meet someone that you might have a bad experience with, you may not know that because you might get lulled into a false sense of security and it feels positive at first, and then they turn around and fuck you, and you're like, oh, tricky. So yeah, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it happens over time, but it depends again on how open you are to the sensation, to the vibration.
The vibration.
And curriculum for its current incarnation. These soul contracts and profound learning experiences are willfully created by our eternal soul before birth, not arbitrarily imposed by an external deity. According to Akashic philosophy, each embodied soul chooses the relationships, life challenges, and lessons that will help most in its development before incarnating in the flesh. This may encompass karmic bonds with other souls' invitation to aid their mutual growth through forgiveness, compassion, and unconditional love. Our suffering often originates from clinging to negative energy or resisting lessons we choose to experience.
So true.
What we perceive as bad karma are in truth opportunities to cleanse past destructive patterns and align more consciously with our divine purpose. While the ego personality may experience this dense world as harsh and painful, a soul...
I had an epiphany. I think sometimes, like we were kind of talking about earlier, where you're trying to get a message about what am I supposed to be doing right now? What is my purpose, or what's the next thing I'm supposed to do? And you're trying to find out, and no one is talking to you. The cards aren't talking. The guides aren't talking. The records are closed. And it's like what they were just saying. It has to do with that you've got your own mental block. But hold on, go back like a couple seconds. Okay. Yeah.
More.
Go ahead and just play what it says right there.
In truth, opportunities to cleanse past destructive patterns
right
and
there.
Align more consciously with our divine purpose.
Okay, right there. So to align, it's like, well, what do I have to do? Well, you've got some bad patterns that need to get fixed or cleansed or healed before you can be the person that is capable of taking on that next step or taking the steps onto that purpose path. So you have to do a little exorcism here before you can go delve and move forward out there. And that could be what's blocking you. It may not be a bad habit or anything, but it could just be that you've got some ick. We need to cleanse this out. And then you'll be the person that's going to attract the right person into your life for the right job or the whatever.
You're not ready yet, but
right.
You can be.
Yep. You need a little more time in the oven, honey.
While the ego personality may experience this dense world as harsh and painful, a soul reading in the records during incarnation can help align with its higher purpose and respond to all battles and blessings as opportunities for spiritual progress and transcendence. Accessing the boundless knowledge encoded in the Akashic records ultimately serves to remind us of our core divine essence and deepest spiritual identity beyond the fragile, temporary, mortal ego. Reading the Akashic text reveals we are eternal souls created by source consciousness, beings of light, divine intelligence, and pure cosmic energy. We experience many incarnations to grow in wisdom, compassion, and conscious awareness. Yet within every human heart resides an intrinsic inner divinity beyond all illusions of separation. The mystical teachings of Christ, Buddha, Krishna, and saints of all traditions point us towards this ultimate truth. By silencing the chatter of the ego and personality, we can touch this realm of divine light within. Our consciousness merges into unified awareness where time and space evaporate into eternity.
What did that just say before the commercial?
Manifesting space and time beyond eternity.
Yep. Time and space evaporate. No time.
Yeah, it does when you're
meditating. There is no time.
Everything does not mean
wallet happy. That's 365 by Whole Foods Market.
No time.
5 signs
hell
your
just
pineal gland
happened?
is calcified and blocking your connection to the universe.
More
Where's
commercials,
the
Scientists
yay!
are standing-
Oh.
Feed the beast, feed the beast.
Self-realized masters
Seriously, they
often say little
monetize.
about their profound awakening, for it cannot be described in merely human terms. They become one with the infinite living source and reside in the eternal here and now, detached from all identities, stories, names, forms, and manifestations. This dissolution into empty fullness is the ultimate gift and fulfillment promised by the grand vision revealed through the Akashic records. Matter itself is only possibility and probability waiting to unfold. All limitations are
It is punishment
self-created
for the time stuff,
illusions.
you're right.
In pure consciousness alone,
That's
we
my
are
karma.
truly free.
Universe is like, you want to experience being a pain in the ass? All
The
right.
ancient metaphysical vision of humanity as eternal souls journeying across many lifetimes to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and spiritual awakening has re-emerged as a powerful idea in the global
Okay, I have it.
consciousness
I've got
today.
it.
The
Okay.
promises
I've got
revealed
the resolution.
All right, what's the resolution, Jennifer?
2 things can be true simultaneously. I think time can exist and not exist, be real and not real at the same time, which is where I think that's kind of what you're saying too. Maybe we
That's
can't
not
we
what I'm
can't
saying. It's
we
not what
can't
I'm
have that
saying.
compromise.
It's not
It's
what I'm
real
saying.
and not real.
It is a
This
created
doesn't-
thing. It is a created thing that we created to be able to make sense of our world. But we also have to know that it's not actually real. Like, it's not. It helps us make sense of things, and for people who are not, enlightened and all that stuff, they don't understand any of this because they're just not, this is not a realm that they think about, okay? But just because it's real for them and they need it because they haven't fully become aware of what they are yet, then that doesn't mean it's real. It means it's something that they need. It's like Santa Claus, Jennifer.
Oh,
It's like
God,
Santa
no.
Claus or the Easter
Now you're
Bunny.
gonna tell me Santa's
It's
not
like-
real. Thanks,
it-
Carlin.
But it is. It's like, you know what? Santa, fine idea. Fine idea. Like, I mean, listen, kids get real excited. It's a nice nostalgic thing, like whatever. It serves a purpose. But sometimes when we're not kids anymore, we don't need to believe that Santa's real anymore. And you are a high witch, Jennifer.
I am, but that's why
You
I think
are a
both are true.
witch.
You're stuck in it can't be true. It's not real, and you're stuck here. And I'm like,
It's not
you're right,
real.
it's not real, but it's also real.
It's not real, though. We have to
Okay.
know that it is a construct that we
Okay,
have
we're just
given
gonna have a-
ourselves.
Have that little head. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm
That's
right,
it.
you're wrong. It's okay.
No, I don't have to be right because rightness is just self-explanatory.
Rightness is just a state of mind, isn't it? Rightness isn't real. It's
And-
something that it might feel real,
You're-
but I
you're
can
real anyway.
because you don't care. I can own that I'm right, and you don't need to sit in your rightness because you know that rightness is just a construct. It's exactly the same fucking thing.
It's all a construct of the system, man. It's the way they control us, man.
It's the same fucking thing,
Oh
Jennifer.
I like that they're both true. That's just where I live. It's fine. You
Alright.
go on and do your little tap dance. It's okay, sweetie.
That's fine.
I don't
That's
mind.
fine. Time's not real. I'm making a fucking t-shirt. There's nothing you can do to stop me. Time
Alright.
is not real.
I don't mind.
Yeah, it's the Jews. It's true.
We're all going to hell. Oh my
Probably
god.
true. Probably true. Yeah. Yeah.
See you there.
in mystical traditions to access our soul's history. In a cosmic storehouse of boundless information seem less fanciful in light of modern concepts like the holographic paradigm, morphic fields and quantum entanglements that defy ordinary limits of time and space. Perhaps we are now rediscovering dormant inner technologies of consciousness and perception that allow us to read the living text of our souls. The true gift of the Akashic records may be ultimately revealing our core identity as divine beings of light, experiencing creation within a transitory physical dream. Beyond all suffering, the evolving soul awakens to remember itself as part of the one eternal source, bringing heaven to earth in each moment. The Akashic records remind us we are not merely human. We are the eyes of God, eternal seers made in the divine image.
Well, that didn't tell me how to access the Akashic records.
Yeah, I think the title's misleading, but I really loved kind of the spiritual message that was in that, and about like being ready karmically and energetically, and just how it just kind of expanded from the scientific, which we looked at first with the Akashic records, now into the more spiritual aspects of it.
I liked the visual aspects of the whole thing. I thought it was a well done video, and I liked the
Really
guy's
pretty.
voice and his explanations for things.
Yeah, totally.
All right, now we're getting into the big video of the night, and I'm actually most
big one.
excited for this video. This one is titled Ancient Beings from the Akashic Records Channeled, Future of Mankind Revealed.
Well, now they always go for the shock and awe, and we've seen this gentleman before. We've seen this video before. He's not the strongest interviewer, but he's very nice, and I think he does pretty well. And he's very gentle with his guests, and I think that's good because usually he deals with very high level topics like this. So I hope you enjoy. I'm going to go use a little goddess room while you get that started.
Cool.
And I can take all the time I want because it's not real.
Exactly. Take your sweet time, Jennifer.
Is that we are a field of energy that is given guidance to all that is. If you recognize that you have heard a whisper in your ear or a tap on your shoulder, you can recognize that we are giving you the guidance down the direction or the path that you need to go in. What we want you to know today is that we hold all that is, every form of information, every plan, every molecule of evidence of life has been embedded within our field. If you recognize who we are, you'll begin to understand that there is much more to your life than just the simple existence upon this earth. We are the guides for all that is, and this is the purpose that we serve as of today.
That's crazy.
I'd like to welcome to the show Lisa Wetzel. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, he did the dog one.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to our conversation. We're going to be touching upon a topic that we've talked about a little bit on the show before. It hasn't been talked about a lot, which is the Akashic Records, and explaining what the Akashic Records are. We're going to have a little session, kind of like a channeling session, quote unquote, with the Akashic Records. But before we get started with all of that, can you explain to people what the Akashic Records are if they've never heard of it?
I'm going to go ahead and just ask the records to provide that information, if that's okay.
Please. Yes, please. And then we'll go into it.
So what we want you to know is that we are a field of energy that is given guidance to all that is. If you recognize that you have heard a whisper in your ear or a tap on your shoulder, you can recognize that we are giving you the guidance down the direction or the path that you need to go in. What we want you to know today is that we hold all that is, every form of information, every plan, every molecule of evidence of life has been embedded within our field. If you recognize who we are, you'll begin to understand that there is much more to your life than just the simple existence upon this earth. We are the guides for all that is, and this is the purpose that we serve as of today.
Very interesting. So for everybody, it's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yeah, that's why I don't ever answer. And sometimes I get different answers, so I just prefer, they always know what to say at the right time. So for whoever's listening, that's the message that they need to hear.
So Lisa, let's go back. What got you interested in the Akashic Records and tapping into it and all of that stuff? Because I assume you weren't born with this information.
No. And so way back in the day, in the late 90s, I was the director of a massage therapy school. I am a long-time massage therapist as well. And I was the director of the school in Louisiana, and Louisiana required a healing touch to be taught within their curriculum. And so in the state of Louisiana, there were only 2 healing touch teachers in the whole state. And so I would have one of the healing touch teachers come and stay with me during the time that they would have to teach their classes. And so we were just chit-chatting, and I asked her, what all do you do, Donna? And she mentioned this thing called the Akashic Records. I was like, what? And she, have you ever heard of them? Well, no, of course not. And so she told me that she taught classes. And so I did it more or less just like, well, that sounds fun.
Right.
Why don't I just do that? What the heck? And so here I am 20 years later and still doing it.
So from your perspective, not the records' perspective, your perspective, can you explain what the Akashic Records are as they were explained to you?
Yeah, it's actually an energy field. And I've noticed that you had Irving Laszlo on your show in the past.
Of course, yes.
And he is my hero because he's actually had proven that there is such a thing as this field. And so this energy field holds everything, all of the memories, every thought, every event, everything from the beginning of time, from the time that this universe was created, this field was created to hold everything. So what I like to call it, it's almost like the holder of all history. And so everything that's ever been created, every thought we've had, everything, from the beginning of our soul's existence and all of everything that there is, it holds everything. And
oh, are you serious?
Oh God.
Are you serious?
My goodness.
And so why
I'm just gonna
feel so special.
I'm just gonna get the fucking premium next. I'm not gonna do it tonight. I'm just gonna get the fucking premium. This is ridiculous. Every week.
Amazing.
Wow. Being able
Every
to do
fucking
this
week
is because
yeah,
I'm privy to everything. You can literally ask me any question and they're going to give me an answer. And for me, what an honor that is. And that is why I try to stay out of their way so that they can share and me not intervene. But really, in a very short version, it's the holder of it all. Everything that is held in the energy field of the Akashic field.
So it's the ultimate cloud storage.
That's the way to describe it. Yes.
It's the ultimate cloud storage with endless hard drive space and storage space that basically captures every single thing from every single creature in every single universe, every galaxy, every universe, everything that's going on anywhere, it's being recorded. Yes. And then you can tap into that knowledge at whim. Yeah. Now, my question to you is, when you ask the Akashic Records a certain question, obviously everyone's like, well, ask the lottery numbers. That doesn't work that way. At least to my understanding, they're not going to go, sure, it's 7, 14. That's generally not the way it works. But this is my understanding of the Akashic Records, that if you ask a question, they will give you the answer you need to hear, not necessarily the answer you want to hear. Is that a fair statement?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the truth. It's the truth of all that is, and it comes from that spiritual perspective, not what our mind creates. And so, a lot of times when we expect a certain answer or we want a certain answer, it's because it's the story that our mind created, and that's what the mind wants to hear. But what the truth is what they're going to tell you. They're telling you from the spiritual perspective, what their view is and what their knowledge is. And so sometimes it can be a little bit hard to hear what they have to say because it might not be what we want to hear.
So in other words, like, when am I going to meet the love of my life? And they'll say, well, you got to work on yourself first, girl or guy. you got to do a little work. Like, no. When is Prince Charming or my princess going to walk through the door? And they're like, not anytime soon. You got a lot of work ahead of you.
That's exactly what they say.
Because if you're asking that, well, no, I've been around the block enough in the spiritual space at this point in the game that I kind of between channels, between psychic mediums, between the Akashic Records, information coming from the other side. General rule, it's not what you want to hear.
Right.
It's generally what you need to hear, and that's generally not a pill that most people want to swallow. Especially if you're asking a question like, when am I going to meet the love of my life? You're probably not ready to meet the love of your life.
Exactly.
Because if you're not worried about meeting the love of your life, that's when they show up.
That's true. Well, yeah, and that's when you're
every time.
You know, if
Right.
if you feel like, see, now you just opened the door. Sorry.
Sure.
But if you are looking for the relationship because you think the relationship is going to complete you or make you happy or provide some security, this is everything that we're not supposed to be. That's completely living from your mind. And so if you're asking those types of questions, you do need to work on yourself just a little bit.
Well, I think we
And
all have to work on ourselves, period. That's a general
always.
statement. Always, every day, we're constant projects in work. You know, we're a
Always.
constant project.
Always.
Constantly work. So as a general default, you always working on yourself until the day you leave.
Well, until we become Buddha, you know, until we
Right.
become the enlightened one that has nothing left. and
And
we
decides to
know-
stay. And decides to stay to teach others. Yeah. The Jesuses of Jesus, Buddha, these kind of people. Which I don't know about you, I'm nowhere near it just yet.
Well, I think because we're all human and we all have a goal to reach.
Right,
And we're still the
exactly.
student. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. When did you, because again, this isn't as, I wouldn't call it strange as channeling, because channeling is a whole other conversation. I always love asking the question, when did you come out of the spiritual closet? When did you come out of the channeling closet? So when did you come out of the Akashic Records closet when you started
Thank
to do
you,
this
Kevin
as
Michael.
a
I
professional
appreciate
doing
it. He's
you know,
donating for me to
sessions
get
and things like
premium.
that, where now your family, your friends,
thank you.
colleagues know that, oh, Lisa's talking to an imaginary library.
Well, sometimes most of them still don't know. I'm still kind of in the closet.
That might change after this conversation.
And it might.
So this is it. This is when you came out of the closet. This is right now.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it though is that, you know, the people that are going to be listening to are people that I don't normally work with in the real world. So they still may not know.
Gotcha.
So it still may be my own little secret. But to answer your question, I didn't really even know that I was intuitive until I went to massage therapy school as a student in 1996. And luckily I had a lot of really good teachers that were, I call them the hippie massage therapists. You know, they were the ones that were taught to do massage therapy intuitively, not necessarily by a routine. And so by doing this and being trained to learn to feel the body and listen to the body and what it's saying, opened the ability for me to disconnect from my thoughts. And I used to call it, doing massage therapy was my meditation time. And
That's
I
an
could clear
interesting
everything,
point.
and then I would start receiving stuff. And that's kind of what really opened up to, I'm hearing words. What are these voices that I'm hearing? I'm seeing images and the stuff. But then when I took the class with Donna, and that was in 2003, that's when I started being, it made it more consistent. I was able to sit down and I could open the records and I could turn it on and turn it off. And so that's kind of what opened the door for me 20 years later. I've been doing it long enough now that I have a lot more control over it than I used to, because I've been doing it for so long. And, you know, I know when to shut my mind off and I know when to allow it to come through.
You know, I've had a lot of near-death experiencers on the show, and I've had a few near-death experiencers who have actually said they visited what they could consider the Akashic records. In their impression of it is, when you hear about the Akashic records, the image is always a giant library. And it's a giant library with every soul has a book that's constantly being written in, and we have to bring it down to our third dimensional thinking just so we could wrap our heads around it. And that there's, I guess, quote unquote, librarians or beings that kind of oversee that. You keep saying they.
Yes.
Who are they?
Go ahead.
So because we were kind of talking about like accessing the records, maybe this would be the time to kind of get into it. One of the way that I perceived it when I visited there was a very large, almost like a tunnel, like and it was just vast. And it was very bright. It was kind of pearlescent. And this is just how I perceived it. That I'm not saying this is what it looks like, because it's going to look different to everybody. But it's kind of stretched up into the light. It was like the tunnel going to the light kind of thing. But it was lined with books. Like the library was round for me. So because I put myself into a protective egg shape when I meditate. And so it was kind of accommodating that, but I was just a little thing in the middle of this huge, vast shaft. And every book was a book of something, of an event in my life. It wasn't a book of my life. It was an event. So if I wanted to go look at something that happened, when I was 13, I could pull that instance and look at the instance, or ask somebody in there a question. I could talk to someone who was there. Why did you do this? What was your motivation? And hear their side of it and that kind of thing. So, but it's going to look different for everybody.
So you could ask people that were there about their motivation for why they did what they did?
Yeah. So one of the meditations I did was, there was a person that I was enamored with, and I was trying to find out why they were so dedicated to not being with me, because they definitely wanted to be together, but they just wouldn't take the step. And it had been going on for a decade, and I was just tired of playing around. And I'm like, what is going on? Because I wanted to speak to their soul. So I opened them up, their book with me. And I went into sort of a scene with them, if you will. It's like you go into the book, like, I don't know if you remember, like, the Land of Chalk Drawings. If anybody ever watched that, where Simon would draw the chalk drawings and you'd go have an adventure with them. It was kind of like you open the book and you go into the scene. And he stood there, and I said, did I do something to you? What is there karma here? Why won't you, what is the resistance? And he would tell me, he would talk to me. And then I would say, well, I apologize for it, because we'd had a past life together and I did something really stinky. And so I apologized, and I said, I'm really sorry about that. And, I'm not saying this heals everything, but I just want you to know that I'd like to heal that. And he was not very nice to me. And it was at that moment that he wouldn't forgive me. And it was at that moment that I realized, this is not my person.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. And I closed that book in the records and in reality too.
Wow. Okay.
To help me walk away from him, so I could open the door to the man that did become my husband years later.
That's crazy. Did you feel that, like, instantly when that happened? Like, there was like an awareness of it?
Yeah, I felt the awareness of it, but it took me time to accept it. When I came back to three-dimensional reality, it took me time to acknowledge, accept it, because I still had that funk of denial of, oh, now it'll be fine, it's meant to be, blah blah blah. And then I'm like, what am I doing? So it was a process. It was easy to do there because everything is instantaneous there,
Right.
but here I had to actually heal. It's like I had cut open an old wound, and now I had to put salve and a bandage over it and let it heal, and love it and go, okay, that's over. We're not doing that again. And then after, with some time, I was able to finally let him go. And the funny thing is it took about maybe a year later, we remained friends. And about a year later, he came back to me and he was like, I should have been with you. I've been in love with you this whole time. And I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Wow.
You know what? No, you're late. So it is what it is. But, it was nice to hear it.
That's crazy. I want that type of closure on a couple things. I got to tell you, I would really like that type of closure. On
What's beautiful about it is I don't have any resentment towards him.
Yeah.
Because he really did some shitty things to me in this life, just some really shitty, emotionally painful, damaging things. And it felt like we've made peace with that. Like, I'm not traumatized from it. And that's funny, because talking about it now makes me think about, there's a couple of other people that I still feel trauma about. Maybe that's what I need to do, is go into the records and have that conversation and try and, heal that scar.
I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, they're the guides. So okay, so first of all, I have never seen a library and I've never seen a book.
Okay,
ever.
obvious. Yeah, I'm sure.
Ever. And so I have a hard time associating this space as that, because I only see energy. I just see the space of light and beauty and love. It's just an energy field to me. So when I'm receiving information, I hear I hear voices. I get word for word for word, or I will get a feeling in my body, or I'll see images. So I get all different types of stimulation. But the way that I've been explained to what the Akashic records are, it's more or less like they have, like when you're talking about the guides, it's more or less like they like a business or a corporation. This is how they explain it to me. So like you have your CFO and you have your CEO and you've got, you know, all of these different jobs and duties, but instead of having that label on them, they are these beings of energy. They're these light beings, and they are literally the guides that instruct the other guides. They're calling them the lower level guides to do their jobs, you know, and how to do it. And so the way that the way that it's been received to me is like it's like a control room. And when you are, I always, you know, I'm a little bit older than you. So back in the early 60s, you remember when the rockets would go to the moon and they would show like on TV, they had the big room and they had all of the computer monitors and the big screens. Well, what I see is that every
source has a hierarchy. I wouldn't say it's so much of a hierarchy as much as it is different different beings do different things.
As above, so below. There are levels to everything, and source itself is the highest level. It is the source. Everything else comes from it and has levels and jobs. And it's not that one is above the other. It's just they have different functions.
That's what I was trying to say. It's not like there's not like a dictator in source. That's not how it works. There's
source
not like,
is not
like
involved.
That official. Exactly.
Yeah, source is there to just be and observe and experience through us and through them, through everything that came out of it. And as far as it's like being in the ocean, one fish is not better than another fish. It's just a different fish. If that helps.
Every person that's sitting in front of one of these monitors is a guide. It's a light being. And they're watching each one of us. And like there is the CEO that's standing back saying, whoop, Mary's not doing right. She needs to turn right. She's got to cross this path. Get her, help her. And then that guide is guiding the people, the other lower level.
But it's not the same thing as socialism, though. I just want to make this like really clear. When we are in the spirit realm, we want for nothing. We can have anything we want at any moment because we can create in that instant. So it's not like, is the hierarchy leveled? I mean, we are in the collective. Like I'm you, you're me. We all come from the same place. So it is the collective, and like unironically, it is the collective. But like, it's not as though like socialism in the real world doesn't work because human beings are flawed. They have egos, and we believe in scarcity in the real world, and so we run out of things like food or things like of that nature. You never run out of food in the spirit realm. Everyone has a place to live, and like you have whatever you want because you can create it just by thinking it.
We also keep things from each other here. Like maybe someone runs out of food because someone else is keeping it away. Like when you send all the donations to Africa, a lot of the governments hoard it and they never let it get to the people. That kind of, we have greed here and we have a lust for power here. That does not exist out there.
Mm-hmm. So real socialism can exist in the spirit realm, just not here.
Oh, for the love. Nothing is distributed. We are the source of our own power. Mm-hmm. It's true anarchy.
Exactly. There you go.
Guides to instruct the lower level guides to take us by the hand.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Giesman, and I'd like to invite you to join me for a wonderful online.
Why, Suzanne?
She's a medium. Maybe we can hire her
differently.
Yo, we should have paid more. No, she was not the medium. That woman is not going to channel Hitler, Jennifer. We need a very specific medium. Maybe this one will help us. I'm going to call her. Like, will you help us channel Hitler?
Open the book of Hitler, please.
The book of Hitler. Oh, geez, where's my window? There it is.
And what other people describe it. Because I actually see this space as the place where they have all of the records of everything. So like our soul contracts, everything that we're supposed to do, and they're the ones that guide us to make sure that we follow those plans, because that's where they're being held. Now, I don't know what other people think about that, but that's just the way that I've seen it. And so these guides are all of these energetic beings that are making sure that we're going in the direction and helping us and taking care of us and doing what our soul's plan is.
So is that would be kind of like our intuitions, that little voice in our head, ideas that pop into our head, our dreams, all of these avenues are ways of communication from spirit guides. And, most people listening to the show understand what a spirit guide is. So there's our quote unquote personal spirit guides who've decided to come along on the ride. And then we're surrounded by teams of relatives, ancestors, angels, other guides, other spirit. So then what you're saying is that these guides are kind of like the upper management that's sending information to help guide your guide to go like, hey, Lisa really needs to make a left here. It's really important that she makes a left. Try to figure out how to make a left. You still have free choice. They're just kind of guiding you along the path, hence the name guides. Is that fair?
You described it exactly.
Okay. And then obviously the Akashic Records is not top of the totem pole because there's things higher than the Akashic Records, but that is a layer of where it almost seems like administration. It almost seems like, oh, this is where the contracts are held. These are where the information is. It's almost like a control center for the universe.
Yeah. And, and one of the things, like with the description that they'll always give me about my human body, like us, so like the soul is the pilot and we're the airplane. And when the soul needs direction, they're calling the control tower, which are our guides or whatever they are up there in the field. And, the soul's saying, hey, I need direction. Tell me what I need to do because the airplane is not cooperating. So tell me what am I supposed to do now? And then the control tower, the Akashic field, the guides up there are talking to our souls and giving us directions. Now, I've never heard it explained that way by anybody else.
Oh, it's a great, I might have to take that one if you don't mind to use it as a great explanation because it is a really great way of looking at it. And we talked, you mentioned Dr. Erwin Laszlo before, and Dr. Laszlo has been on the show a couple times. And what I always found interesting about him, and I'm bringing him up because he is one of these, he's a two-time Nobel Prize nominee for his work in regards to the Akashic fields. So when I had him on last time, I go,
seriously? He was a Nobel Prize nominee?
That's interesting.
I didn't know that.
I think probably in the field of the quantum physics kind of stuff.
That's crazy. That's like, a really big deal.
It's legit woo right there.
That's legit woo.
Start talking about the Akashic Records, it just adds so much more legitimacy. This is not woo-woo anymore.
Right.
This is not like, let's hang some crystals, sage out the room, and get a massage. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about serious people who are in this field of quantum physics saying, no, there is this thing and you can't tap.
I think people need to just embrace that it's woo. Like, don't be like, no, it's not that woo. This is serious business. No, you're talking about meditation and crystals and magical things. Like, you can't escape the fact that it's woo. So you might as well just own it and try to get people to see that, okay, woo is hippie and like flowery and all that stuff, but there is actually something to it.
Well, I don't see why, again, both things can't be true. Why can't science also be woo and woo can be science? There's places where it bleeds over together and cooperates.
And in fact, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
They're not mutually exclusive. It should actually work together.
I agree.
Tap into it. So I wanted to say that, for people listening, so it's just not just, a woo-woo conversation. Like, this is based, they're starting to figure things out.
Yeah.
Things that we've been talking about for thousands of years, science and quantum physics are starting to bring to the light.
I think they do
but
work together.
it's kind of
And
like,
some people just have to be so right about things that they don't acknowledge that they work together.
They have to. I mean, they have to, because it's the laws of the universe. I mean, and both of them are like the laws of the universe. They're just like different perspectives on the laws of the universe, right? It's like, it's like this. It's like people saying like, oh, you know, there can only be one right religion. Well, why? Why can there only be one right? Maybe a religion that's right for you is not right for me, but this one is, and this one is right for that person, and we all find our way to God or not. Some people
Everybody,
are
they have to. They have to be right, because if they're not right, they don't have the power.
Yeah.
They don't have the answers. They don't get the money. You know, and then I think people are scared. Mostly it comes down to they're scared of what happens after you die. And they need to know. And if they aren't right about their religion, then they don't know what happens after they die, and they get really scared. Like, well,
so true.
You know, yeah.
And isn't that kind of like a sad place to be in too? Because it's like, I feel like some people in some religions more than others, but like definitely you see this in like the Mormon religion, I think, and like, you know, maybe many others as well, but like they really live their whole life for, we need to be together in the afterlife. And it's like, bro, you're in the world. You're in the world. Like, don't like, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but like, you're in the world now. Like, what are you doing? This is not a test.
Yeah.
But they think it is a test. And so.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's their journey.
Everybody has a piece of what they need to know this time.
Bless their hearts.
With love.
With love.
They just discover radio waves. Radio waves have been around forever. We just figured out how to listen to them. Similar. Yeah. Would you say that's what it means?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, that's why I have so much respect for him, because, you know, when I have people that don't really understand this, or, you know, people that come from different backgrounds, and you're talking about this, they automatically put it into that, what you said, woo-woo category. And, you know, to me, no, actually, it's not really as woo-woo as what you're interpreting as, because I do have scientific evidence that this field does exist, and here it is. Thank you, Dr. Laszlo.
Right.
You know, and
probably the most common question that I'm asked as a professor at Hillsdale is, what happened to my country? You know, when they polled.
I'm not going to say anything.
So it does put some legitimacy to it. You know, people obviously still have problems with understanding how you get the information and if the information is legit. But I know that, you know, the information that I receive, and I think that we all receive information differently, and depending on what level we are and what our purpose is the type of the information that we do receive. But I feel like I know that, I don't feel like it. I know that the information that I receive is never coming from me. And I've always learned that if you're saying words that wouldn't come out of your mouth, you probably need to pay attention. So if they're not your words, then they're coming from somewhere. And if they're in and coming from a place of love, then you always know that it's a source that you can trust.
What do you see? Because the little channeling that you did at the very, very beginning of this conversation, that was a stream of consciousness, which I haven't seen with the Akashic records before. At least the people that I've worked with or I've interviewed, they usually say that they see images, sometimes video, like little sequences or sequences of images, but never like what you did was almost like a channel of like these, you know, this energy coming through you. Can you explain the difference of what I'm explaining and what you do?
Well, I see everything that you just said too.
Okay.
So I do see images. I literally have physical sensations, but I also hear the words and they stream. And so I always start off with those words. And then like if they're going into a lecture, you know, they go on a little tirade, then I'll start feeling the emotions and the stuff that go along with it. And a lot of times they do show me images to help me understand what they're saying. And so again, you know, we're all so different and we all have so many different gifts that I think it's really, really important to understand none of us are the same. Yeah. And, you know, I have found I don't listen to a lot of other people because I don't ever want to be clouded and feel like, oh, I'm just repeating this because this is what somebody else said. But whenever I do hear messages from other people, a lot of times it's always the same message, but maybe said a little differently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so
That's
what I,
that's part of the thing with like woo-woo spiritualist teachers a lot of times is like, listen, they may sound crazy, but they are incredibly consistent in their messaging. Like across all different teachers, across all different, different groups or whatever, they all basically say the same thing except just in different ways.
If they if they're tapping into source and they're tapping into the real deal of, spirit guides and as she's, the librarians or the helpers in the Akashic records and all that, it's going to be the persistent message because it's not their message.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of tell the fakes when they start inserting themselves into things.
Yeah. I don't think I had as much of an appreciation for that like before I got into politics too, just because like I was around all these communities for years before this, and there would always be in the back of my head going, oh, they're just copying off each other. They're all saying the same thing for a reason. It's all a grift. Like, it's like I wasn't sure of it. And then I got into politics and I realized that there are actually people who do that. And they're incredibly inconsistent in what they say, and they're inconsistent with each other across what they do. And now I'm like, I look back at people like this now that, like, if you interview a person that's, working on a certain level about the Akashic records or meditation or, channeling or any of these things, they're basically going to say the same thing. They might have different personality. You might like some more than others, but they're they're very consistent. Whereas if you look at politics, everyone's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and these guys aren't talking to each other. Like we can watch 20 different psychics and they may all say the same thing and they don't know each other. So that's telling as well.
True.
I know is that, whatever way, however, it was like I said, I've never seen a book before. I've never seen a library ever, but I know where I am. I know where the information is coming from, but I'm just receiving it in a different way. And however they're choosing to use me is their own unique brand. And so they're like, okay, this girl right here, this is how she can receive this information and she can say these words that we want to say. So we're using her to give our message. And so I just use it the way that I hear it.
Right, exactly. And it makes sense because, if they're looking for you as the antenna, let's say, that's going to receive this message, well, the components that make up this antenna are very uniquely you. And it's different than the way I would receive the information.
Right.
So the software and the hardware that's running your antenna is your lives, the lives and life experiences that your soul has done in many lives, what is opened up for you in this life. Because some people have more of a gift. It's just like any other gift, basketball, football, chess, math. Some people just have more gifts than others. So that's just the way it looks for you. So that makes all the sense in the world to me. 100%. So
well, and it's hard for people. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard for people to understand that, especially when they're first getting into stuff like this, because they want to be like somebody else. Right. And and we're not any of us are the same. None of us are the same.
Yeah.
I'm just
that's real. We can't understand this because we want to be like other people. We just don't want to be ourselves.
Just let it happen for you.
I'm going to go on a slight tangent here because there's something really important that you just said, that we all want to try to be somebody else, especially when we're younger. We emulate our heroes. We emulate people that are successful. And take it from somebody who tried to do that for a long time in my business in the film industry. Only when I started to be myself, only when I started to not care about what other people thought, and truly started to feel comfortable in my own skin, that's when success started to come into play. Before then,
I was just thinking about this earlier today. Like I've been successful throughout my life. I've been successful in all the different careers I had and all that stuff. And I built my own business and all that. But I was thinking like earlier today, I was like, doing this socialism stuff, like unironically has allowed you the opportunity to just like be who you are and do what you want to do. And like, even, I mean, it's silly because it's marketing and branding, but it's even like the design stuff I'm doing now. I'm like, I fucking love it. Like, I've never been able to do anything like that. I couldn't do stuff like that when I was an organizational psychologist. That wouldn't have flown at all in any way. And so like, I had to find other ways to be creative back then, and I definitely did try to, but like it is kind of like an interesting thing of like, I feel more free than I ever have before because I like literally don't have anything tying me down now, whereas I have in the past, even when I've been successful doing what I'm doing.
Well, it's really fun to watch too, because you're like, I'm gonna go do this, and you're like, and it's there. And it's cool. That's unrestrained creativity. It's a wonderful place. I hope we can all find at some point, with whatever we do, and make money at it.
Yeah, that's the key. I'm still working on that piece, but I still do an okay job of it.
Right on.
It didn't, and I think that's a big lesson that I just wanted to kind of put that out there because it just triggered that's something that came to me when you said that. It's like, I think it's something that's so important. And I think in any aspect, like if you want to be a channel, you look at some other channels, you're like, well, I want to be like Abraham Hicks, and and I want to be like Derlanka, or I want to, if you're a psychic medium, you want to be James Van Praagh or Matt Frazier, or these big names. But the thing is that what made them all successful is they just are who they are. Yeah. So
hey, it's Jay Shetty.
Oh,
are you looking for an exciting new career where you can help others
Jay.
and grow as a person?
Bye, Jay.
Bye, Jay.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, and this crazy thing, like the universe knows what they're doing.
I've discovered that.
And so if we are just our truest selves, then they're going to use us the way that they've intended us to be used. And so I don't compare myself to anybody else. And I've had people tell me a lot that I do this differently than other people that channel the records.
Bro, that's like the hardest thing to do on the internet, though, is like not comparing yourself to anyone else. I'm sure it's hard to do in other aspects of life too, but like, this is something that gets thrown in my face all the time, like the numbers. You don't have as many followers. You don't have as many viewers. And I was thinking about this earlier today, and I'm like, there would, like, even just take this right now. Okay, so we've had 400 people watch the stream so far on YouTube right now. I'm sure there are more on Twitter that have watched it. It's like, if you're in some sort of, like, spiritual world and you get 400 people to show up to a class, that's really fucking good.
That's really good.
Actually, that's like really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like when I was, doing my organizational psychology stuff, it was a big day for me to present in front of 1,000 people in a room.
Oh my gosh.
Like that happened maybe once or twice a year or something like that. If I got a really big speaking gig, or I got like a big keynote at a company or something like that. Like, and and now I speak to, I was looking at my Twitter stats, like 100,000 people a day see my tweets.
Jeez.
Like it's crazy.
That's
right? It's like
amazing.
even like on here, like I'll get 1,000 people watching a socialism stream. I got a couple thousand, like that's like I got 2,000 people to sit down and watch socialism on Saturday. That's fucking incredible. And so it's like, people look at this like, oh, your numbers aren't as big, and then they try to make you feel bad out of it. But I'm like, bro, you are disconnected from the real world, because in the real world, like, there are a lot of people who would kill to have the numbers I have and be very, very satisfied with it.
Oh yeah. That's the attitude of gratitude right there that you're experiencing is, I am living in abundance. This is enough, and it will continue to grow. And this is amazing. Look what I did. Oh my God. Yeah. Awesome.
That's crazy. So don't compare yourself.
Never.
I just do me.
You go, girl. You go.
So it may be a little bit different, but as long as I honor it and and the messages are well received, then I'll just keep continuing doing me. We'll do it that way.
So if you don't mind, let's start asking the field, if you will.
Questions.
Some questions about some general questions about humanity, about where we're going, about what I just want to hear what they have to say about certain things, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So my first question is, and by the way, you remember everything?
No.
I remember nothing.
Okay, that was the question. I always ask channels that. So the information just comes through you and you're like, what did I just say?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So where do you go?
when I literally say, did that make sense? I really mean, did that make sense?
Where do you go though?
Well, it's not necessarily that I go, I shut my mind off. And so when I don't have a stream of thought, it doesn't process through my brain. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to shut everything off and I'm listening word for word for word for word. So when I'm repeating one word at a time, it's not a stream of things to hold on to. So I just kind of let it just keep going. And so it kind of just goes through me and don't hold on to it. Sometimes I remember stuff, but most of the time I don't want to. And I don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So first question is, what will be the most significant shift in human consciousness by 2030?
Ooh. You're all going to become
Recognize the
communists.
love that is residing in each and every one of you. And you'll begin to recognize how the thoughts of life and congruency are shifting and changing in a way that will allow you to love more freely, see more openly, and be more clear as in the intention of your lives in order to move forward in the truth of who we are and what we have created you to be.
That was a very vague answer.
How did humanity originate on this earth according to the records?
Okay, so humanity as in you might need to narrow down the question.
So humanity as we know it for the last 6,000 to 10,000 years.
Okay, so so not how people were created, not how humans were created, but how humanity.
Anunnaki.
No, I want to know how humans were created.
Okay, so we want to be first
on
of all,
Earth.
Okay, so we want to know what they're classifying as humanity.
Yes.
What is humanity?
Our origin.
Right.
Okay.
That's a good question. Let's start there.
Okay, because we kind of have to narrow it down sometimes. The broader the question, the broader the answer. So when we talk about humanity, we talk about the compassion of each individual that exists upon the earthly plane. What we want you to understand is that humanity is what the mind creates in a way that can alleviate pain and sorrow. When we created humans to exist upon the earth, we created them to love unconditionally, to create the pattern of an existence that would allow the earth to flourish. What you have found is that humanity has been in place since the beginning of time. What humans have done is altered humanity to create an existence that lives more in the mind than in the heart. And this is what has transpired over the last several generations, as in the number that you gave, which was 6,000 to 10,000 years. 10,000 years is actually when that shift began to occur. Does that make sense?
No.
It does make sense.
I don't know. Wow.
I don't like it.
Is humanity in a
Well, now hang
cycle
on.
like the Yuga cycles of 26?
Hang on. Go ahead.
That kind of matches what we learned about Lemuria last week, where we knew we were beings, that where we came from and everything. And then we got so fucked with genetically that we lost that connection and went straight cranial, into the physical.
Maybe it's just like a little cryptic for me. Like, could the record keepers be a little bit more specific? I kind of feel like they're writing a poem or something about what's going on, and then we have to decode the poem, and we can decode it in any number of ways. Just like we were talking about with Notre Dame.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that. But also, I think maybe they're aware that this is going out to a vast audience, and being specific might be telling people who aren't ready to hear that specificity.
Well, you know what? They shouldn't be watching the video then, Jennifer.
Yeah.
The rest of us want to hear. We shouldn't have to make up for them not being ready to hear if they watch the video. This is like halfway through this video.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's if he presses them or whatever, I think that would be very interesting. But I kind of think from a place of compassion, they might know that someone is just starting their journey and they haven't gotten far enough in, and they're not ready to hear all of it just yet.
I guess. I don't think this guy's going to try to pressure the Akashic records, though.
Yeah, no.
It's too nice for that.
He is.
6,000 years where we are enlightened and then we kind of lose our way, go down to the dark ages, and then find our way back up. to where we were.
You're finding that at this particular time, there'll be no turning back. What we have done is we have created the opportunity for the earthlings to shift their consciousness to elevate to a higher level so that they will not return back to the hatred and anger that has existed for years and centuries.
You have to get past it first.
Oh, come on.
Ooh, fruit.
Pancakes.
Oh, that was good. I'm
pancakes. I'm not
hungry.
even joking.
Oh my God.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there any major global events that will be shifting humanity in one way, shape, or form in the next year?
Saying everything. So when you begin to recognize that there are events that are transpiring that are causing hardships and sorrows, but you'll also recognize that there is love and compassion. If you understand how all of this is tied together, you'll recognize why this is happening. The earth is being shaken up in order to create a consciousness that will elevate the human mind to a level of love and compassion. When you see the atrocities that have been happening and that have been going on around the earth for centuries, you'll begin to recognize that there has been a symbolism of heartache and pain, anger and violence throughout lifetimes. What we want you to know is that this is coming to an end. We want you to see that the human mind is creating a balance that is more coherent to what we choose to have you believe than what you have began to believe due to the ego's dominance. When you begin to understand that the vision of the eyes are changing so that they can see more clearly through the eyes that we have created than what man has created, you'll begin to recognize how this shift is happening and it's occurring at this very moment.
Going on this theme,
whoa,
does the
Yeah,
Akashic Records...
so
Go ahead.
this has been a theme of a lot of woo people where and light workers and the seed people and all this stuff, like coming down and helping with this transition. That's been because we had a big bunch of spirits come down, healers and light workers come down in the 70s. We kind of touched on that, I think, last week as well. But so that is starting the transition, and we're all here to help with that transition. But that transition is going to take a very long time because what they're seeing is stuff that we've seen for centuries, and we're so used to it, we don't see that there's a way out of it. It is what it is. Yeah, people have been fighting and killing each other for thousands of years. Big deal. And now it's but how can we do things better? And there's other, I think, forces working against that because they want to keep us in the dark, keep us fighting each other. And so that change has to start there as well. And I think there's going to be instruments meaning people used to bring about the cessation of that violence that don't even know they are the instruments. And then the healers can come in and help everybody raise their vibration. But it's going to be very difficult with lots of religious stigmas and people with closed minds. This is the way it is. This is how it's always been. This, if it's not in the Bible, it's not real. So there's a lot of things that are pushing against the evolution. It's going to take a long, long time, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Have any information on this legendary place called Atlantis or ancient civilizations? Is something like that were we more advanced at a certain time than we are now in one way, shape, or form in past civilizations?
They're saying what I'm seeing is there's actually I'm seeing a man praying, like what you would see like a native standing on top of a mountain and looking up at the stars. Where the disconnect has happened from the harmony of the balance is that the mind has taken control to alleviate that belief. What we want you to understand is that if you go back to the time of the Atlanteans, you'll begin to recognize that the place that they were more advanced in was the mind and the connectedness to all that is. What man has done at this time and during this day is disconnect from what the truth is of who they are, and have become more reliant on the mind's thoughts and the creation of stories that have been told. What we want you to understand is that the advancement of other civilizations was truly the connectedness and the passion they had for what was beyond the earth's content. So basically meaning that they were more spiritual, they were more open, more that connection and being in tune with their guidance, the balance of the earth, how we're all one, how everything, you know, that resides within me resides within you. We have to keep the ecosystem balanced in order to maintain and grow. And so that's where they were more advanced. And then what we have done is, and this civilization has detached from that connectedness that's making us more independent and more destructive. So what we want you to know today is that you are feeling the pains and the sorrows of what has been created since the time of the Atlanteans. The Atlanteans knew what and how and who they were, as they were all connected as one and not separate. Okay, does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. It does make perfect sense.
Yeah. So, and again, I think people are looking at as well, when they're talking about, are they more advanced? Well, what's your definition of more advanced? These guys that are talking to me, they're more interested in that spiritual connection. To them, that advancement is understanding who you truly are. It's not the technology. It's not it's not that part. It's the part of that wholeness in their eyes. And that's why they were more advanced.
And that would give them the ability to build even things like the pyramids and other ancient structures that we still have no true concept of how they did.
Yeah. And again, it's because, that's that part of us that is intuitive. Okay, you have a problem, or you have something that needs to be done, or the universe is saying, hey, we want a pyramid and this is the reason why. Okay, guys, how are we going to do this? You guys need to give us some direction down here, because our mind can't comprehend how to get this done. And so, when you live that guided life in that nature, it's amazing what we can do. It's amazing what answers will come to us.
So how will the concept of manifestation evolve in human understanding in the next couple decades?
They're saying there will be no manifestation, because it will all be. It's like where it's to the point to where you'll begin to recognize how you can see all that is. There will not be anything that the mind would create that it wants in order to manifest. All will be. So this is an interesting topic.
Yes.
So
I sometimes find with stuff like this that, like, when you're channeling things like this, they have a hard time with time in the earthly sense.
Yeah.
In that they say, this is going to happen in the next couple decades. No, it's not. They don't understand what a decade is. Like
right.
That, so it's like, I mean, she's saying, like, in just a couple decades, the manifesting won't be a thing. You're just going to be able to do it. No, that's not real. It's just like, they're not there. Do you agree with that?
Well, because time is real in the 3-dimensional plane.
And well, no, it's a social contract that we created. And the reason that they don't understand it is because it's not they don't
live in it.
Concept of what it means. It's like when, like, I don't know if you grew up like this, but like where I grew up, we wouldn't say something was like 5 miles away. We would say it's 15 minutes away.
Oh
yeah,
something
like
we
that.
Do that here. Yeah,
and it's kind of like the same thing. So if you go somewhere where someone's like, it's like 5 miles away, I'm like, I have no concept. How fucking long is it going to take me to get there? I have no concept of what that means.
There's some people from England that have some like TikTok and Instagram channels that I watch, and they talk about that phenomenon, because for them, they think in kilometers and everything, and the distance it takes, to get from A to B. Here we think about the time. They're like, did you know Americans, they think about like they measure distance in time, how long it will take to get somewhere. It'll take 2 or 3 hours to get there. It's like, okay, now I know when I have to leave. I have to plan all that out. And a lot of that is because we do have more space here. And so we do have to think about our schedules and how long it's going to take to get somewhere. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah.
Manifesting things. So if we really think about, okay, well, I want to manifest a new house. Okay, you think about where that comes from. Where is that really coming from? It's coming from your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it because you've seen something and that you want it? I want to manifest a different job, or I want to manifest more money, or I want. So when we talk about manifesting, number one, is it on your life path? Is it something that you're really supposed to have?
Well, please
or
let money be in my life
mind's
path.
creating
Yeah,
because
for
there's
real.
something in that ego that's saying I want more.
Mm.
So when we elevate and we get to this point in this place of understanding that we are all the love will always be there. Everything that you need will always be there. And because we can see it with different eyes, we'll begin to recognize you don't need to manifest anything. It's all there. And so when you really can see and understand how our shifting and changing in the minds, they're saying the mind's content, when the mind becomes more clear.
Go ahead.
I mean, I appreciate what they're saying, that we, what's important is love and we have everything we need. And that's true. But I truly believe I would grow into a higher evolved spirit being if I had a lot of vacations and a pool, maybe some cruises and stuff. I like stuff. And yes, that is my ego talking. And that's because I am a full person. I have all the layers. Ego is one of them. And yeah, I definitely can revolve much better with more money. So yeah, give me that challenge. Let me.
But the money's right there, Jennifer. Just pick it out of the.
Just boop. Yeah, tongue firmly planted in cheek. But I mean, I sometimes I'm like, I'd love to have the challenge of what. Oh, it's just a higher level of poverty. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
It's okay. It's like when people say, well, you don't really own your house. The bank owned your house. I'm like, okay, this is not the conversation we're having right now. No, it's not. No.
Yeah, but is the bank gonna like repaint the outside for me, or is that on me?
Mm-hmm.
It can see more clearly, and it can see the beauty that evolves around and not in the illusion of someone else's eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what is the future role of artificial intelligence in human evolution?
It's an expanding notion.
Oh.
We have to recognize that man can create the evil, or it can create the contentment.
Listen, I know you're not going to want to hear this, Jennifer, but like I was doing some editing in AI last night, and I got to tell you, I have a better relationship with my AI as my editor than I have ever had with like a real professional copy editor.
That's because the AI doesn't talk back with you.
The AI doesn't talk back. The AI gives me everything I want the minute I want it. Even when AI screws up, I'm like, okay, AI, can we try again? Can we try again, please? And then they try again, and usually it gets, some semblance to be. But it's like, it just feels so much better. I'm like, even I've started being more polite to the AI. I'm like, can I please have this? And the AI is like, yes, you can have this. I'm like, oh,
yes,
fantastic.
mistress. Anything you want, mistress.
It's just like so much nicer than dealing with a human being. I'm like, bring on the AI revolution. I'm here for it. I never have to talk to another person again.
What we have to do is recognize how the man can create and do harm to others in a way that can be detrimental. What we want you to understand is that artificial intelligence is a way or a movement that can allow one to be more whole and complete, or else it can be harmful and destruct what has been made. But what we want you to understand is that there is always human involvement in everything that is created. We want you to know that there was a vision or an idea that was put in place that created this specific event. We also want you to understand that the mind is shifting and changing in ways that will not be as evil or violent as it has been in the past. What we want you to understand is that we have our thumb on it. And I've seen a thumb. We have our thumb on it. And we will help to control the outcome of this event that will make it more harmonious than hurtful.
Someone's got our back.
Yeah, our mind is still like going, okay, well, I'm not sure about this. because we hear all the stories, so, because I think it can either be the good or the bad, either way, and anything that happens. But there is a universal plan. And again, I know I'm not the only one that's saying this. We're all leveling up. And we're getting to that place that when we can see that love and we are understanding that we're all connected, we're going to be using it differently than what we perceive it as today.
I'm chatting with a live H&R Block tax expert. It makes doing our taxes online
I don't
so
want to
easy.
talk about
There's
taxes.
also this AI.
Oh, taxes.
Because today we're looking at it from the mindset of where we are, but we're not finished yet. This journey is still continuing on, and our mind and our thought patterns are going to start shifting and changing. So they're saying it's going to be all good. It's all good.
Okay.
I love it. Good.
All right. All right.
Again, but we still are human and we still have free will. So it does make me still a little bit hesitant.
But there seems to be some sort of guardrails put up to kind of protect. Well, I think in general, free will is very important, but there is we have free will to do almost anything. But from what I've realized in my life is that there are guardrails up. You can choose. It's kind of like you could choose whatever you want out of a closet.
Although it does kind of seem like Trump's trying to get rid of income tax.
Well, because we didn't, when was it implemented? I'm going to get it wrong. Somebody knows in the chat, but it wasn't implemented until I want to say the 20s or the teens or something.
We have not always had a federal income tax, and
It used to be tariffs. He's trying to return it.
Yep, he's trying to get rid of taxes on tips too, which would be actually really fucking great for me because I think
and overtime.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know he was kind of talking about why. I know he mentioned it once that we could replace the federal income tax with tariffs, and I was like, yes, please.
Yeah, let's do that, Trump. Work on that, Trump. But he seems like he is actually working on it. So I'm like, go Trump, just do it. Just fucking do it.
Oh my gosh.
Just,
and
just
get
write that executive order, Trump. Just do it right now. No one owes income tax anymore.
He's got to get the tariffs in place. And that's what scared a lot of countries too, not to go on a tangent, but yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well, too bad, so sad.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And the clothes that live in that closet is the parameters of if that's a good analogy or not. There is free will as opposed to just being able to just at any moment. I mean, I guess you can do whatever the hell you want, but generally speaking, you're not energetically inclined to go do something like that. I'm not going to be an astronaut tomorrow. I could, probably not going to work out. I could try to go for the NBA, probably not going to work out.
Well, and and I always use that scenario, it's given to me a long time ago. I was driving down the highway, okay, so we're on our path and we're going down the highway. Well, then we decide that we want to stop at McDonald's. So
right.
You take a little exit. Well, then, we've got these little guides that are like, wait a minute, you're getting off your path here. We're going to bump you back and bump you back and bump you back until you get back on the on-ramp and you get going in the direction that you need to go again. And this is our life.
Get back on the highway. This is my fries, though.
Humans.
Look at my fries.
No, you're not allowed. You're not supposed to eat the fries, Jennifer. The fries were a mistake.
With the fries.
Get back on the fucking highway.
We're always making choices and decisions, either from our head because it's either fear or something that's creating these stories that we stay in these scenarios because of these reasons why.
I just had an epiphany.
Uh-oh.
So going back to 2020, I really do feel like just my essay going viral out of nowhere and then me getting that was supposed to happen. I didn't do anything to make that happen. That just happened to me. And then I was hanging on for and everything about that whole experience was it happened to me, right? And so I do believe that was supposed to happen for some reason, but then I never could quite figure out why I had such a hard time with all the people that I met around that time period, because I am not supposed to be on the path that they're on. I'm not supposed to be a part of that. That's not what it is. That was not the purpose of that thing. And maybe it seemed like the purpose of it at the time to connect with those people who I now universally think are almost all awful, vile people who I don't want to be around at all. But I wouldn't have known that had I not had that experience, I guess. But
Yeah.
so I was thrown into that for some reason, but it was not to get embedded with that crowd, which means fundamentally I'm supposed to be over here. I don't know why I'm supposed to be over here. I don't know how I'm supposed to function over here, but I am not supposed to be over there. I'm supposed to be over here. Because if I was supposed to be over there, it would have been a hell of a lot easier than it turned out to be.
Oh, yeah. It's always easier to swim with the crowd, but going against it or departing. And when we evolve, we always lose friends every time because there are people who want to stay stuck here. And you're like, no, really, it's really nice up here. And they're like, you're doing it wrong. Fuck you. I don't want to be your friend anymore. And then you're like, but why? I'm not doing anything wrong. Come on. Yeah, just let it go. They are not ready for the message, and you are better off with people who are with you on your new path.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter. You can get kicked in the gut. You can get your hair pulled by that guide. You can get every inclination of knowing that this is what you should do, but our mind's telling us you can't do it because you're afraid. Or whatever it may be. And so the universe is always going to try to keep us on our path because remember, we have our soul contracts, we have the reasons why we're here. So even if we do something that's going to take us off the path, like you said, we do have that guardrail, and the guardrail is our guides trying to keep us where we're supposed to be going and what our soul's supposed to be doing. So it does help, but however, we still do have free will and we can mess things up for a bit.
Fair enough.
They'll get us back on track again if we choose to listen.
So my next question will be is what role will religions have in the coming 50 to 100 years?
Less and less. Less and less.
Yay.
You'll begin to recognize that what I'm seeing basically is a wall crumbling. They're disintegrating. And when you recognize that the control of others over others is disintegrating, you'll begin to recognize why this is failing. Okay, so why these religious systems are failing. Because what they've done is they put all of us in a box, in boxes. They have specific guidelines. Every religion has specific guidelines of how we're supposed to act and what we're supposed to do and who we're supposed to be and all of these things. And what's happening and what the universe wants us to do is shed all of that. Is getting rid of these belief systems and getting out of the box. I hear all the time, get out of the box, get out of the box, step your foot out of the box. Don't be controlled over what others tell you. You're your own soul. You're your own individual, and you're here to exist in this place, on this plane, and the truth of who you are, and not what somebody else has created you to be. And so it's religions, but it's not even only religions. It's human nature. I mean, our parents tell us what to do. It's the societal belief systems that put us in these boxes as well. And so it's happening, in which you can see that's why more people are searching, and listening to you and listening to people like us, is because they're wanting to figure out how to get out from underneath that control, and to be more independent. And, it's society. So we can put that religiousness in a box, but it's really just society. It's, it's just the way that humans are or have been, but that's changing, and we're going to let go a lot of those belief systems in the future.
The big game is coming, and there's no good time to use the bathroom, so we're giving you
great.
That's good to know.
Yes, it is. I agree.
How will humanity's spirituality evolve over the next 50 years?
They're becoming one. Becoming one and recognizing that we're all connected. What the human and the universe has in common is one. That one is in the same. It is the same. The universe is within me, and we are all one. And what you'll begin to recognize is that more and more individuals that are traveling this path will begin to see that they are one and they are united. And this is what ties all together. This is what the most spiritual purpose is of you, us, living on this earth at this time. And this is what we want you to understand. You're going back to the question, I'm going back to Atlantis again. and recognizing that this is what we want. We want you to understand that in order to create a harmonious environment, meaning, how we're all together, you got to take care of the environment, you got to take care of the animals, you got to take care of the water, you got to take care of the air. Everything has to be taken care of because we are one ecosystem. And what we want you to understand is that this all has to be tied together, or else there will be destruction. And this is the path of the future. So recognize that as the humans continue to move forward, they'll become more aware and of all life, and life will become more relevant than what it's been in the past. Did that answer the question?
It did answer the question. Yes. Okay. Now, what are the Akashic records' is insights on curing major diseases in the near future?
They're laughing and saying, this is a simple one.
Okay, good.
What we want you to recognize is that as the human body begins to elevate in the vibrational frequency of what it is meant to exist within, you'll find that the disease and the disharmony that resides within the body will begin to fail. Okay, so meaning that, the higher the vibration, the less likely that any kind of disease or disharmony is going to be able to exist, because the vibration is higher than that. And, for us, we kind of understand, but for you, your viewers, when you have any kind of anger or emotional issues that you're holding on to, it creates a disharmony in the body and it lowers your vibration. And that old saying of dis-ease. So when a body has dis-ease, it creates the opportunity for cancer to grow, or for the body to become imbalanced, which creates these different diseases.
This is
and so when you begin to
this is something that we address in Reiki. When you get your levels, you address the disharmony, and dis-ease is something that's talked about frequently.
Recognize that the shift in consciousness elevates that human harmony, you'll begin to recognize that there'll be less and less disease. Okay, so that's just one factor. I mean, the other factors are, and this is just me talking, not them, but we look at the pesticides and the poisons and all of this.
No, dis-ease is a word in Crip theory. You're shitting me.
I don't know what that is.
It's like crip as in cripple, as in disability theory, as in critical theory, critical disability theory. Oh. They call them, the leftists who are disabled call themselves crips.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? They internalize it as a part of their identity. It is one of the things they put in their bio and everything.
Yeah, but see, when I think of a Crip, I think of the gang, the Bloods and the Crips.
I know, but they mean it in terms of they're crippled. Being crippled is part of their identity.
How many decades did disabled people spend trying to not be called cripples anymore? And now they're going back on, oh no.
They reclaim the word just like they reclaimed queer to make it something else. Like, and it's not even that, it's not even that cripple means you're actually cripple. You could be crippled based on just declaring that you are. Like to say, like, I'm neurodivergent, therefore I'm crip. But they're never actually diagnosed with anything. So it's exactly like queer. It's like, it's just another far leftist thing.
They're health fluid. They're cripple fluid.
It's a Marxist political. We need to get into Crip theory at some point. Like, it's been on the list for a while, but I was like, I haven't found anything good. But like,
why would you want to identify? That's backwards thinking. That's sliding back to me.
I've absolutely found like a lot of queer therapists when I've been like investigating them. There's so many of them that identify as Crip. It's like, you're a therapist. Like you're identifying as Crip.
A lot of therapists often become therapists because they really need therapy themselves.
Well, no, that's very true. A lot of therapists are very broken people. Yeah, people who study psychology for a reason, and true. I say that from experience.
Yeah, same thing with healers. We want to heal something, so we learn how to do it. Yeah.
Exactly, and then we attract all the people who need to be healed into our lives.
Oh God, all the beautiful
chaos.
broken people that just fuck with us constantly.
All of the beautiful broken
Awesome.
people are attracted to us as soon as they, feel the vibe.
Yep.
Stuff that we ingest. And so as we become more in tune with being balanced with everything, we'll be using less of those things that are so harmful for our body anyway. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. So the more that we wake up and the more that we become aware of how we're all tied together, everything is tied together, then we start resolving those issues. Then we're working from our heart, we're working from compassion, which raises our vibration. And so this is the whole thing of moving to this fifth dimension, that we've heard so much about. And so it all goes hand in hand with that place of opening up your heart and staying in that heart space and raising your vibration. Then everything else will begin to fall in place and it'll be more harmonious.
My next question is, will there continue to be more wars and destruction in the coming years?
They're saying no. Now, again, you and me, this is kind of hard to believe.
See.
Right. Well, we're like looking around. We're looking around the planet right now. We're like, this is, I mean, and I've said this publicly as well, and it's been said many times. I'm not the first to say it, is like we have less wars now than we've ever had in any time in the history of humanity. We have less.
What year was this
There's
done?
still a lot of room for
when this was recorded.
But in the scope
this
of
was early last year, so this was basically a year ago.
Okay.
Humanity, we're in a good, quote unquote, in a good place.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of pain and suffering and things like that. But what are they saying?
Yeah. What we want you to, they're saying this is the last hurrah. You'll begin to recognize the shift in consciousness will begin to change the patterns of human nature to cause chaos. So what we want you to understand at this time, that the horrific conflict that is happening at this moment is actually meaningful and purposeful for people to become more awake and see what is unfolding amongst their eyes. When you begin to see how these effects can shift and change the consciousness of the mind, you'll begin to recognize that they are also relevant and important in order to shift and create a more harmonious place upon the earth. And so even though that this is hard to see, it's affecting all of us. When we see these atrocities, regardless of what side you're on, when you look at a whole, your heart's going out to these people that are suffering. And when you're in the middle of it, so you're looking at these people that are actually being participants or being part of this atrocity, these atrocities, you'll also begin to recognize how they can shift and change their own consciousness. And again, they picked it. And that sounds, that I don't like saying it like that, but the soul has a specific purpose. And they've put us, each one of us.
People really fucking hate it when you tell them you picked this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they hate it. I never realized how much people hate that because, to me, that just makes sense. Yeah. Right? To say, okay, well, you picked this, Carlin. So what the fuck is going on? What is it? But, you tell a normie that, and they get so pissed off. Even if it's, a good, even if it's, something that's not that bad, it's, they freak out.
Yeah, especially if it involves children.
Yeah.
That's true. You can't tell me that little child chose to suffer.
Yeah, I know nothing about that. It's well.
Yeah, but they're an evolved soul. They're just a young human is all.
Exactly. Did they pick it in their child form? No, they picked it before they were born as a part of their larger purpose. And does it suck? Yes, it sucks. And,
It's hard to explain. I made the mistake I won't go into it, but I had a conversation with someone who was a teacher of very impoverished children, and I made this mistake of trying to sound all enlightened, and I should have just gone, oh, I'm really sorry you see all that. That's it. Because she kept going, why would they do? Why are these poor children? Is there even a God? And I'm like, well, it's kind of evolution. They chose it. She's like, you can't tell me. I'm like, oh, well.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, sweetheart, scream it out. Scream it. You chose this too. Yes, you did, honey.
Have your struggle session. It's okay, baby.
Yes, you did. Scream it out, girl. But it's they really do get very, very angry though. And know there's but that's how there's truth to it. because if there was no truth to it, they would not get that disproportionately angry about it.
Trigger.
Yeah, very big trigger. That is really the art of the trigger, by the way. Like I do want to actually write a book called The Art of the Trigger at some point, but the great secret is like, just tell people the truth that they don't want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
In a completely kind of just like unvarnished, like this.
Like when somebody says, "Oh, you're just like your mother," and you're like, "Oh!"
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly because you know it's fucking true.
Yep.
You know
I
it.
love my mom. She's going to watch this tomorrow. I love you, Mom.
Yeah, Jennifer's mom is great.
We love her. She's
just
awesome.
an example.
Doesn't have anything to do with me. I love it when people say that about me.
No, we're making an analogy for the audience.
I'm so going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Specific places in order to accommodate that need that soul has. And they're saying, and this is what we have done for you. You're all on this place at this time in order.
Well, yes, actually it does. Yeah, I did. Yeah, on some level, I absolutely chose to deal with the bullshit. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, it's part of my journey. I don't know what the fuck this means. I mean, maybe it's preparing me for something else. I mean, all the bullshit I went through 2 years ago when I had a nervous breakdown, basically, like, I wouldn't be able to deal with the shit I have to deal with today if I hadn't gone through that. Honestly. Yeah. And it really sucked at the time. That nervous breakdown sucked real bad.
I remember it. Yeah.
Yep. It was bad. It was not good. But there was a purpose to it.
It's a growing pain. It's a birthing process. Those are the birth pains, trying to evolve into a bigger, better, badder you.
Yep. Well, our higher selves don't hate us. This is a story that you're telling that is not beneficial for you to tell. Your higher self does not hate you.
No.
At all.
No, that's pessimistic. So try and turn that narrative around. It loves you. What is it showing you that you are stuck on right now? And you're out of sync and alignment with it. Try and think about those things.
Yeah. And if anyone's having feelings about being told that they chose whatever bad things happened to them in life, I mean, listen, you can work out your feelings in the chat, I guess, but like, you chose to be here, okay? You chose to click on the video. You chose to be here.
This too is a cosmic revelation.
This too. It's what you all need to hear, whether you like it or not.
With love.
In order to create a new consciousness that is elevating for all that is around you.
What role do dreams have in our human evolution?
They're laughing and saying, well, they play two roles because there is the psyche. Recognize that dreams can be patterns of the mind's thoughts as well as premonitions of what can happen in the future. What you must determine as an individual that is dreaming a specific dream, how do you interpret what that is? Can you recognize the tie-in to what the events are that are going on around you and that your mind is interpreting specific situations and that is playing out in your nighttime dreams? Or is it a dream that is a premonition to something that could be happening or a message from your guides or from who you are to tell you that there's a direction that you should or shouldn't take? So basically, you've got to analyze.
I have a point on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I heard that there are three kinds of dreams that we have. One is work. When we are learning, we're processing, we might even be training for something. And then there's play, when it's just a fantastical, fun, silly little brain play dream. And then there's work and messaging. So messaging is when they're trying to tell you something and you see symbols or someone is talking to you. Try and remember if they say something to you in a dream, try really hard to remember what that is. Maybe keep a notepad, write it down. I had a very disturbing dream a few nights ago where someone said something very specific to me and I'm trying to figure out what it means because it was like super effing spooky. So, but yeah, there's those three things: work, play, and messaging.
Cool.
Got to figure it out.
So how will human perception of reality evolve over the next 100 years?
They're saying it's going to be more truth related. When you begin to recognize that your mind controls so many of the visions and the thought patterns, basically the interpretations of what is, you'll begin to recognize that as humans begin to shift their consciousness and allow themselves to be in the moment, in a place of consciousness, all will be seen differently. Okay, did that answer your question?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay, do you want to dig a little deeper? You can ask it again. Just ask it in the other way.
I mean, the perception of reality is like, there's been so much talk of, and these are ideas that have started to really come into the zeitgeist, which is multiverse, parallel realities, that kind of idea, the simulation that we're all in a giant, cosmic hologram, which has been talked about for thousands of years. What is their perception of all this, or their point of view of it?
Well, they're laughing and saying that is way too complicated for the human mind to absorb at this time.
Oh no, yeah, our hardware is limited. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah. So, but what we want you to know is that all is in existence. However, your specific soul chose this specific location, place, and time to allow all to evolve in the nature that is needed for the growth that is required for that specific soul. So I think that if we want to go into all of these different dimensions, go ahead. You can do that. But what the message is that I'm receiving right now is that it's more important to be here and now, and to live in this moment and this time, because this is where we were meant to be.
Got it. Oh,
That
that's
makes
a good
sense.
That's a good answer. I like that
Okay.
answer. That makes a lot of sense. What are some key spiritual lessons for humanity in the 21st century?
They're laughing and saying, finding your heart. That's the answer. The answer is love. When you begin to recognize who you are and what you've created yourself to be, or what you have been created yourself, meaning me, what I've been created to be, is the person that is meant to love and love unconditionally, to recognize the truth that lies around you and see with unguarded eyes and a mind that's open, so that the truth can be revealed in ways that the human mind cannot always comprehend. What we want you to understand is that the evolution of the human mind is actually going backwards to the human thoughts. And what I'm seeing is like the human mind is deteriorating, but it's not. What it's doing is it's letting go of our beliefs and our training and getting back into the truth of who we really are. And what I've been told is the simplicity of the mind. We're going back to just the simplicity, the basics of who we are, but we will see so much more clear, is what they're saying. Did that answer the question?
It did. It
Okay,
did.
did I get way off track?
And finally, do the records have anything, any parting messages for the audience?
You're saying we love you and we guide you. We stand beside each and every one of you throughout your days. When we recognize that there is pain and anguish, feel our heart connected to your heart. We want you to understand that the existence and the purpose of you being here at this lifetime, at this specific time, in this lifetime, is for you to gain an understanding of who you truly are. And this is your life. Life is of the existence to hold the truth of the heart, the knowledge, and the wisdom that we have created. We're giving you all the opportunity to see who you truly are without the mind's confinements. And this is the message that we want heard at this time.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Now I'm going to ask you a
Okay.
few questions I ask all my guests.
Okay.
What is your definition of living a fulfilled life?
My definition is to live mind-free. You know, when we can let go of the training and the conditioning and the beliefs that hold us back and preventing us to see who we truly are, or creating an image that's an illusion, when we can shed all of that and let all of that go, living a fulfilled life.
If you got a chance to go back in time and talk to little Lisa, what advice would you give her?
Hold on.
Hold on tight, girl.
It's going to be a rocky ride. Put your seatbelt on, girl. But it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay.
How do you define God or source energy?
Love. God is everything in everything and everyone, and it is the purest existence of love that is.
Then my next question is, what is love?
I'm hearing their words too. Sorry.
So if they want to chime in on that, I would love to hear their thoughts as well.
And their definition of love is God. And God is everything.
I don't like circular logic.
And that is the definition of love.
Okay. And what is the ultimate purpose
You're
of
a
love?
Capricorn.
This is the favorite answer. Living life to its fullest and the purest existence of love.
That's a beautiful answer. That was a beautiful answer.
And again, that wasn't mine, so thank you.
Yes. And where
I'm
can
not that
people
eloquent.
and where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
You can go to my website. It's lisawetzel.com. And you can find out all the information that you need and all the events that I provide there.
And do you have any parting messages for the audience?
It's all going back to find the love. Just find the love that's within you. I'm on this show specifically because I can tap into the Akashic records, and that's really why people are listening to this show. The whole point of me being able to do this job and being on this show is so that they can express the love that they have for each and every one of us. And for all of us to know that we're not alone. We are never alone. We are constantly being guided and held. But the mind creates the story of separateness, and that we feel like we're struggling or we're alone or we're not loved or there's some faults in us or whatever it may be. And this is all going to change, and it'll be changing for every single one of us to be able to let go of those belief systems. And what I hope that my message can be to everyone that can hear my voice is that we are all love. We are all love. And whatever path and whatever journey you're on, there's love behind it. It is what it is.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been such a wonderful conversation. And I thank you and the records for hoping.
I like the channeling stuff where we're getting insight into humanity. I think those are some of the best videos.
Yeah,
we watch. Sometimes when the channel is good, not when the channel is bad. We've watched a few of those too.
Yeah.
The second Hitler video.
Yeah, that was
that was not so good.
I get a little so here's why I don't like circular logic, because it gives you no information. It defines nothing. There's no answer there. There's no there. It's just, well, what is love? Love is God. What is God? God is love. Like blah, blah, blah. I've learned nothing. And I want to hear more details. I crave an actual answer. But I mean, not that either answer is wrong. It's just loosey-goosey to me. It's like, oh, just trust me, bro. That's kind of what that reminds me of.
Mm-hmm. True. All right. I guess I understand that. And I just don't feel like arguing anymore, Jennifer. I feel like I got several digs in this evening. I'm going to start keeping a scoreboard of every single time I say something that triggers you on this show.
You do it on purpose.
I do it on purpose because it's fucking funny. It's funny. Whatever. It's like a softball. You've like lobbed me a softball and I see it coming. I'm like, I can't not hit it. I have to hit it.
Feels wrong not to swing.
It feels wrong. Like you lobbed it to me for a reason. Oh, Bot says, a member chat, this is the first stream without mention of alien penises. Well, we'll work on that
in a while.
Next time,
yeah,
we'll work on that. Okay, we'll maybe do something about aliens.
One of my two of my beta readers for my book that's coming out have requested drawings.
You need to put a drawing in the book, Jennifer.
And then
you should make your own sex toy based on the drawing and release it as like a premium product.
I could.
That's actually like a really good idea.
Yeah,
you should do that. I'm not even joking, but that would actually be really good. You could do a whole press release about that. You could do like a deluxe book kit.
Not that I haven't thought about that. Yeah.
It's you. Exactly. All right. Well, we've got a couple movie nights coming up this weekend. I hear we are watching Meet the Feebles on Saturday for, what is it, ABC and Double D?
Okay, so this was my husband's idea. Mr. Jennifiers, B's, C's, and double D's.
B's, C's, and double D's.
B's, C's, and double D's. So it's basically really, really bad movies, usually with very explicit content of a mature nature. And we're not talking necessarily about violence, although some of them are, but we've been kind of compiling a list, and I've been resisting it because I fucking hate Meet the Feebles. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna have Kino reviews with us, and we're gonna have an open mic throughout the movie, doing a takedown of it MST3K style, with one break in the middle, no trivia, maybe a song in the beginning. It's just gonna be a loosey-goosey, fun, off the cuff thing, and we're just doing it the first Saturday of every month.
Yep. So this is basically, it's going to be a new movie night once a month in my supporter Discord. If you haven't joined yet, head to carlin.substack.com and go to the digest, and you'll be able to find the link to it. But basically, Jennifier's husband wants to make us watch bad movies and suffer and do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. So there will be people talking over the movie and doing commentary, off-color commentary during the movie. And it's called Mr. Jennifier's B's, C's, and double D's.
Yes.
And it's going to be Meet the Feebles. It's going to be the very first one, and that is going to be on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Are we doing? Okay, yeah, 7 p. That'd be perfect actually for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that'll be after Socialism Saturday. I'm going to make a special effort to get Socialism Saturday done by 9 p.m. just for Meet the Feebles. And then, and then, of course, we're doing our regular Sunday movie night on Sunday at 8 p.m. And we are watching, finally, at long last, after 3 years, Dirty Dancing in February for Romance Movie Month.
I've had it in the polls for 2 years, and it lost every time. So, I mean, I'm making an executive decision. We're going to watch Dirty Dancing. And then after that, I've got 2 polls coming up for Love Month with romantic movies. And I've got my own choice at the end of the month, and then moving on from there.
You've never seen Dirty Dancing, Bot? Seriously?
Bot sees like the most random things that you never think she would see, and then she hasn't seen anything that she should have seen. Yeah, that normal. Yeah, Bot's not normal though. We love her for that.
Well, I'm excited. I'm like really excited. I haven't seen Dirty Dancing in a minute. I'm really excited about it. It's a great movie. We should all go do a summer retreat at the Dirty Dancing Resort, which you can actually do. You can actually go and stay there.
Yeah, well, it was a working retreat, and I think didn't they film some of Miss Maisel there too?
I think so.
I want to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mac's doing a Walk It to Remember on Monday.
Oh, that's right.
Because he wants us all to cry and be traumatized.
It's going to be a crying movie. You know what? It's funny. I literally was just flipping through my Instagram, and I saw, like, speaking of a walk to remember, I actually saw a real life walk to remember couple on my Instagram. It was 2 94-year-old people, and I didn't watch the video, obviously, because I couldn't hear it, but I saw it. And basically, the woman has dementia and was really lucid, and they got her on video basically having, like, the last lucid moment where she knew where she was, and she was saying goodbye to her husband of 81 years.
Wow.
And then he died the next day.
Oh my god. That's like the Notebook.
Yo, come on, man. Come on. So Walk to Remember, we're gonna cry for that too, for different reasons. But that's right. That's a Notebook movie, not a Walk to Remember. They're all the freaking same. They're all the same. Nicholas Sparks books are all the fucking same.
I thought the Notebook was beautiful. I loved how it ended because it was kind of, well, not to spoil, but I thought it was really, it wasn't as tragic because it was sort of a choice.
Yeah.
It was like this conscious love binding choice. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So I might have to like skip that one just because I've been sad for months and I really don't want to cry anymore.
It is also a happy movie. It's not just a sad movie. It's also a happy movie. Okay.
All right. We'll see.
It really is, though. It's a beautiful movie. It's a nice movie.
Uh-huh.
It is. You're going to cry. It's Nicholas Sparks. He gets off on making women cry. That's what it is.
Because we're pretty when we cry.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's 3 nights of movie nights this week, guys. We're doing Saturday, we're doing Sunday, we're doing Monday. We're doing it all in the supporter Discord this weekend. For some reason, the universe has converged all into one. And we're watching a lot of movies this weekend. And, I'm also getting up early tomorrow, Jennifer, because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has his first confirmation hearing tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Who did you cover? Who did you cover? Wasn't there some, or was it, no,
I covered Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing, and then we watched some of like Pam Bondi and Marco Rubio. Those were kind of boring, though, to be honest. RFK Jr. is probably going to have some fireworks, and then we've got Kash Patel coming up on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the one I really want to see. That's starting at 9:30 a.m. I have to get up so early.
Oh, icky.
And it sucks. But we're going to do it because I think these are going to be a little bit spicy. I'm looking, Caroline Kennedy apparently has denounced Robert F. Kennedy. That's like, that's your cousin, bitch. Just
most of the Kennedys are mad at him. Yeah, which is why I like him. When people who, especially people on both sides, don't like the same person, I'm like, that's my guy. That's why I like Trump in the beginning.
Yeah. Now, I still think he's a Democrat, but I think that what I like about him and Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, who also has her confirmation hearing on Thursday at the same effing time, they piss everyone off.
Yeah.
And so that's really the point. It's like, if the establishment is pissed off, then that's a good thing. Also, did you hear, and I know this is like random thing, but last thing I'll say, because I just think you'll appreciate it. Apparently, every federal government employee today got an email that basically said, we're offering you 8 months severance if you resign now. And if you want to resign, just reply to this email with resign in the subject line.
Easy, problem solved.
And they're actually expecting like a lot of people to take this offer.
Oh,
that's
wow.
That's actually a very good offer. 8 months salary and benefits. Just like resign now, and we will pay you for 8 months. Just you don't want to work for me. I don't want you to work for me. Like, go on your merry way.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Yeah, there's some news I need to catch up on because I heard there's some sort of cessation of some benefits and stuff, and I want to look into what that was all about because I've been in editing mode, and that kind of takes me out of reality. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to reach out to you and ask you how to self-publish a book because I'm about done my little tiny little pamphlet-like book. And I was like, why don't I do this little small thing first? And that'll actually be kind of like a good experiment. And that way, when I'm ready to publish like the big book, I actually have some experience doing this. But I'm like this close to being done. It's actually really, really fascinating. It's all about the origin and evolution of the word racism and how it's kind of developed and who was in. And it's actually... It explains a lot. I'm just going to say that. It explains everything. And it was never about individual racism, and it was always about this, like, from the very beginning. And so, we've been lied to our whole lives about everything.
About just about everything, which is, I think, what the whole waking up thing is about. And also the evolution it relates to the woo, because it is how we resolve. Even the Akashic people just said, we're evolving into the truth. We're learning the truth more now. So that tracks.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, this was a banner episode of DISENRAGE. I appreciate you, Jennifer. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we do this every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. I was about to say a.m., but I'm like, that's just not right at all. And we'll be back next week, and I'll be live around 9:45 a.m. tomorrow for the confirmation hearing. And we'll see you guys then. Bye.
Hey, guys.